I'm the coolest weed dealer you ever met. We doing like 400 pounds a week. I was like, yo, there's real money in weed. I came to a fork in the road where it's like, what you gonna do, man? Music or weed? I'm doing weed. Weed got me everything. He's like, yo, my man gonna pull up tomorrow. He pulled up with 20 pounds of haze. And then I just came outside and I just was like, you got it now. You the plug.
Shiest Bubz is a cannabis legend from Harlem, New York. He's known as being the first dealer to introduce high-grade, indoor-grown haze bud to the East Coast beginning in the late 1990s. Shiest has been part of every step of the marijuana evolution in America. In the early 90s, he was working with Jamaican cartels in Houston, sending hundreds of pounds of Mexican swag in UPS boxes all over the country. Later, he worked with Mexican cartels in California doing the same thing, and the weed continued to get better and better. Finally, his life changed when a Dominican connect put him down with haze, indoor-grown weed selling for $6,000 a pound wholesale at the time. Shiest took it and turned it into a brand. Moving 400 pounds a month out of his New York City apartment, Shiest virtually introduced a new market for high-grade marijuana on the East Coast and throughout the rest of the country. His legacy of Purple Haze bled over into rap music, as every fan of East Coast hip-hop in the early 2000s will tell you. Shiest himself started rapping and partnered with Jim Jones from Dipset to launch his own successful independent music label. He's toured the country with legends like Cypress Hill, Method Man and Redman, the Wu-Tang Clan, just to name a few. And now that weed is legal in New York City, he's also got, you guessed it, various cannabis brands, as well as a pizza shop. Those two go great together. Make sure to follow him on Instagram for updates and to get the locations and drops when you come to New York City. And for a very fun bonus episode where we smoke one up and get silly, head over to the Patreon, patreon.com/TheConnectShow. A cannabis and cultural tastemaker, from a black market trafficker to an upstanding citizen, Shiest Bubz, right here on The Connect with Johnny Mitchell.
I'm just gonna send you the weed, 50 pounds every time. We lost all this weed in the mail. The DEA said, if you want your money, you can come pick it up. The judge told my parents, your son is a career criminal, he'll be back. I really felt like I was leading this cannabis flag in the search for legalization at some point.
Saying going to daddy's house, that's how much we've learned since the 90s. Nobody even batted an eye.
No.
And in the black community, hasn't always been known to be friendly to homosexuals. But you guys, gangsters would...
That wasn't even a thought back then. Like, all the gay rappers, it's like some like, told y'all. You know what I'm saying? It's like one of those, like, you didn't tell me.
Now we reflect back, we're like, oh, how did we miss that one? We're going to daddy's house?
Crazy. But back in the days to say, like, say your homegirl's like, yo, we going to daddy's house to the studio. But not like a regular girl, like an artist, like somebody that's like aspiring artist. I'm not saying it's not no famous people, but it's like, you know, or your homegirl be like, yo, we going to daddy's house. My boy works up there. He does beats. Like, word, let's go up there. Let's see what's going on.
Right.
You go there, you be like, oh, it's cool. You know what I mean? Smoke some weed, you know? They wasn't really too big on the weed like that. So it was a little like, all right, studio, all right, cool. I'm out of here. You feel me?
It's a red flag already that Diddy wasn't a weed smoker, that he danced real gay, real funny. I remember even back in the day, Wu-Tang was like, I don't know. Rizzo was like, yeah, you see him up there doing that? I mean, that's cool. But like that's real fruity.
But the game changed though, because I'm not gonna lie, growing up as a kid, you know, and thinking about the club scene and even being a part of the club scene, it was about going out dancing to get girls. It never was about going to the club and, you know, you playing the wall and that's how you bag girls.
Right.
That didn't change until Jay-Z was like, you know what I mean? And everybody started being like, nah, we don't do that. We play the ball and diddy bop. Like, we're two-step. We two-step, you know what I mean?
We're too cool.
We're too cool for that.
Yeah.
We're not dancing because y'all can't dance. Y'all don't have no rhythm, so y'all don't do that.
Right.
You know? Right. If you were the guy in the club that was like watching the dance floor and you're like, damn, that cornball could dance.
Right.
He got all the girls. He's doing the bogo. He doing the latest Jamaican dances. You know what I'm saying? You like, you got to get your shit together. Otherwise, you're going to be standing on the wall looking stupid.
Yeah, bitches like dancing. They don't like guys with guns just standing by the wall.
They like that after for you to defend them.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't want you to be, you know what I mean?
Diddy bopping was huge for me as being 6'6" with no rhythm. Cause then I'm just like 1 and 2. Like that was a paradigm shift for white guys.
Right.
Where in Harlem are you from?
I'm from Harlem, the West Side.
West Side. Can we get some numbers?
Numbers?
Yeah.
I'm born and raised on the west side of Harlem. You know what I mean? 116th Street. You know what I mean?
So you're from the Mecca. You're from downtown.
I'm from, basically, in my eyes growing up, it was always just like Harlem. But then growing up, it's like, all right, I'm like right on the outskirts of Harlem. You know what I'm saying? It sounds crazy saying I'm from 116th, I'm from the outskirts of Harlem. But on the map, that's how the map is. Like when you look at the map and see the sections of how it's broken up, it's like, oh, I'm actually live over here. Yeah. I live in Morningside Heights.
Right. Here you are, right. See,
you feel me?
White people took it and they started carving it out, and then it became not Harlem. Now it's Morningside Heights. And
for a long time, it's been carved out, but when you're black and you're just like, you live uptown past 110th, it's like, you live in Harlem.
Right.
You dig?
Right.
Then if you're white and you live past 110th, or even like, they would like to be like 96th Street, but that's not the case, nor it could ever be. But, you know what I mean? They'll be like, hey, you're a white guy, you live in Harlem. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
it don't even sound right.
I live in Morningside Heights.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, it was white Harlem. That's how back, like in the early days, that's how they referred to it, as white Harlem. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're different than most Harlem cats, bro.
Why you say that?
Yeah, I know. Well, because,
what?
You're well-spoken, you have both your parents. Don't make me sound like a white dad from the suburbs.
No, I'm just saying.
But you have some affluence to you. Clearly, you have some education, some affluence, and kind of a larger worldview that I think a lot of the black community has now. But back in the 90s and the 80s, it wasn't really about that. Like I think.
Well, right now I'm from Texas, though. You know what I'm saying? I'm on my Chingo Bling JR. See, if I was in Dallas, I would have had a blazer on. I would have had a whole different look. You know what I'm saying? I would have had a suede Stetson, but it's pretty hot out here, so I had to go summer flow.
Yeah. By the way, nobody in Texas dresses like this.
Oh, word? Okay, well, this is how we think they dress.
Exactly. Exactly, bro.
This is really a cross between Harlem and, my view of what I think Texas looks like.
But you're a fly. Like the west side of Harlem is fly. It's the cultural center.
We would always like to say that, yes, we were the flyest.
Like the higher uptown you go, the more impoverished it is, the more, outside of the loop it is. And then you go way uptown. Now you're in Washington Heights, and, that's a different neighborhood. And then the east side was Spanish Harlem. But you're from I'm from
Harlem.
Yeah, you're from Harlem.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy because Harlem is basically, am I being from Harlem, right? And living in New York my whole life and seeing people represent Harlem and, seeing what Harlem stands for. Harlem is broken up into three sections. It's broken up into the west side of Harlem, central Harlem, and the east side of Harlem. You dig what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it's like, then from those three breakdowns, then you can distinguish what type of Harlem you are. And I don't want to say the N-word, but...
No, let it fly. If I can't say it, I at least want to enjoy it.
Right. So that's how we, back in the day, it's not really like that anymore. Once the internet started becoming popular, everything started becoming just Harlem. Like, it's like East Side, West Side. Who cares? It's just Harlem, bro.
Yeah.
You dig? Mm-hmm. You rep Harlem. You love Harlem. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But where you went to school at, though? What block you from? And if you're not,
where your grandma stayed.
And if you're not from a block, what block was your block? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like where you claim, like
that's obviously lost now with the internet and with the gentrification.
That's old news. That's 1900s vibes. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, for sure. Now, were you a rapper as a kid?
No.
What were you into?
I was into being an entrepreneur since young. Uh-huh. Like my vision, my parents basically like this. You know how they'd be like, oh, you got both your parents in the house and they're success. Listen, that's cool. But I used to envy kids who only had one parent households.
Same.
You heard?
Yeah.
Like, oh, your pops ain't there? Lucky you. Yo.
You get to do whatever you want.
I used to be sad. I used to be sad like, damn. I'm like, my parents make way more money, but my parents are way more strict.
Yeah.
And it's worse than the ghetto life.
For sure. Yeah. Right.
And my father's from Trinidad, so he believed in physical discipline on some military like You know, I remember when I was 6 years old, right? And this is, you know, I'm an older man. I'm not as young as I look. You feel what I'm saying? So when I turned 6 years old, my stinking, rest in peace. Like my dad, I said stinking dad because he was taking a shit when he called me in the bathroom, right? Like, boy, over there with the heavy Trini accent, right? Like, yeah, let me tell you something. I'm like, what? He's like, you're turning 6, you know. I was like, he's like, you know what that means? I was like, no, I'm 6. He was like, that means I'm gonna whip your ass, you know. You know, before, when you get in trouble, I tell you go to the room? No, I tearing your ass up now. I gonna beat you, you know. So know that. Think before you speak. And when that think before you speak, I didn't really understand what that meant till I had kids. And my kids were so unfiltered that I used to be like, yo.
Yeah.
I used to tell my daughter, like, when we would go outside, I'd be like, listen, what's the rule for today? Don't talk. Right. Don't say anything. Because, yo, the unfiltered?
Yeah, it's crazy.
What?
My sister asked my dad one time, we were like on a family vacation in like a minivan. She was like, Dad, have you ever done cocaine? I was like, what the? I was like, Dad, would you have ever asked your father that? He's like, under no circumstances. Yeah. And it's because they.
What? About what?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
That's crazy. How about you get out and walk?
Yo.
You little slut.
You asked me what?
Oh, I want to hit my sister thinking about it, you know? That's wild. So you didn't hit your kids like your dad hit you?
Well, my oldest daughter, she basically grew up almost identical to me. And what I mean by that is that I had her when I was like young. And her mother basically did a Fed bid, an 8-year Fed bid, right? So when she was born, I was like, I wasn't even ready for a kid at that time. I had just got out of jail myself. You know what I'm saying? This is in 1997. Like right at the end of it, 1998, like at the end of 97, I just got released. And then she just gave birth at the same time.
Wow.
And she was already like locked up. You dig?
So your daughter was born inside?
In the system type right? In a hospital, but it wasn't like she was born in a jail cell. It wasn't no like that. It was like she was born in a hospital. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I went and picked her up. Me and her sister picked her up, and I was like, oh, like shit's real. I was like, yo. At first, I was like, I had the baby for like 6 months by myself in the streets, like getting nursing,
right?
Like Mr. Mom for real.
Yeah.
And when I was out of town, you know, people were like, yo, what the? And I was already kind of like an entrepreneur in the drug world. You know what I mean?
How old are you in 97?
I was 22.
Okay. So, because you're known as the Harlem, New York cannabis kind of brand ambassador is what I would call you at this point.
It started in high school for me.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
But I think you were around with Krills and Soft and like that.
Yeah. You know, back in the days when they used to be like cannabis was a gateway drug, I didn't understand what that meant until I started with it. So I was like, okay, it is a gateway drug. Because if I would have never learned this concept of hustling, I wouldn't even went to the other side. You know what I mean? I wouldn't even open that other door because I was like, oh, this is already a criminal act, selling weed, because you go to jail for that. You go to jail for a blunt, a joint, the smallest thing. And being a kid, you know, in high school, if you get caught with that and you go to jail? Not with my parents. Yeah. What?
You might as well not even go home.
You feel me? Might as well not even go home.
Yeah.
So I did get caught.
Yeah, of course.
I got caught with the hard though. You know what I'm saying?
First?
Yeah. By the time they caught me with the hard, they discovered everything. It was like one big bust day. It was like a raid of my room. It was like they raided my room.
Wow. Where your parents were at? Your parents' apartment?
I was in high school. I wasn't like...
So you're basically like a second generation crack kid. it came out when crack came out in 85. It really exploded in New York. So you were getting on in like the early 90s?
I wouldn't even say I was a crackhead. I wasn't involved with drugs, like, until I was involved with it.
I meant like the time, like the early 90s when you were in high school and you started to get on.
It was listen, I got raided on the first try.
Oh, no.
You heard?
Oh, God. Okay.
I got raided on the first try. So at the time, I was already like, I had worked at Columbia University. You know what I'm saying? I used to be like, look at drug dealers like, man, swag. Like, y'all hustling for what? To get some clothes? I get it. But that's all y'all doing with the money? Like, you gonna be fresh for 2 weeks, bust out with a couple sneakers, and then it's gonna be over. Yeah. It's gonna be back to being the bummy person that you was, especially, and if you go to jail, or if you mess up the pack and the drug dealer hurts you or kills you, or you gotta hurt somebody, it's really over for you. That's how I used to think about it before I got involved. So then once I got involved, I was like my boy who I looked at him as like a nerd. Like I was like, yo, his kid is a nerd. And then one day I was just like, yo, why do you look dirty? He was like, I look dirty? I was like, yeah, you look dirty, bro. What's up with you? He's like, I'll be selling cracks on my block. I was like, get out of here, not you. How? Right. I worked at the Gap at the time, so I got new outfits every day. They counting my outfits in school. Like, they doing a countdown like, yo, he got a new outfit on every day for like 3 months straight. That's how I was giving it up in high school. Like, I'm like, drugs? And I was already hanging out with the weed smokers and the low-key crack sellers in school that were like, after school, they go sell packs and like that. You know what I mean?
How do you casually move a pack in like the early 90s in New York? Like, is it still the corner game, or do you just tell the fiends, hey, I got like an apartment up here?
So back in the days when I first got involved, so I told my boy, I was like, yo, take me to the block so I could see what's going on, how y'all hustle and all that, right? So he took me uptown. He was like, yo, look, we're going to go to Poppy. We're going to get to work. Yeah. When we get to work, we're going to go to this crackhead, and he's going to cook the work up for us. Crackhead cooked the work up. He's like, now here's the work. He said, come on, I'm going to take you to the store. Pop the Arab. And mind you, this is in the 1900s. This isn't like early 1990. You know what I'm saying? He's like, yo, like when I say early, like 1990. Like, I don't want to be misconstrued for 95. Nah, this is 1990, right? So at that time too, 1990, 1991, this is like when Alpo is still popping. Yeah. You know, and then that whole situation with Rich Porter's son and not his son, excuse me, his little brother, you know what I mean, with his finger being put in McDonald's, it set a tone in the streets where it was like, yo, they'll kidnap your kids, yo. Right. They'll torture your kid. They'll cut a little boy's finger off type.
So there was real killers in that neighborhood back then. There was real killers. You know, the whole Nicky Barnes story was like, amongst the older people, it was like, Nicky Barnes. And, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it was like, yo, drug game is crazy. Serious.
And one of my discretions that I had when my boy told me he was hustling, I was like, who you work for, man? Like, who you working for? He's like, I don't work for nobody. And that's what really intrigued me. I was like, you don't work for nobody? You mean you can it up and you be all right? He was like, yeah, so I got to work. I went home. I got a plate out the kitchen. I went in my room. I chopped up the work. Right? I bagged it, I bottled it up on crack vials. I was looking at that like, oh, you got crack.
I'm a drug dealer.
I was like, don't get caught, man. I was talking to myself like, yo, don't get caught. You get caught with this, they're gonna think you a crackhead. Because the assumption is if you sell crack, you do crack.
Really?
Back then it was like kind of like that. It was like, if you're involved with it, then you're gonna be smoking that too. You know what I'm saying? So I was looking at that and I had this epiphany. I was like, my boy lives upstate. I was like, the last time I was seeing him, I was like, I told him, I was like, yo, I don't know, but when I come back up here, we're gonna sell drugs. You know what I mean? He was like, all right. So it was like a year later and I called him like, yo, I was so busted. I go to the block with my man. I got the Gap outfit on. I'm like mad preppy and shit. I'm well spoken, right? So he's like, I don't fit in on the block. Right. I'm like, this ain't for me. I don't jack this. I call my man. I'm like, yo, I got the work, yo. He's like, for real? I'm gonna cash you out. I'm gonna come down there and take it from you. I'm like, word? Say that. So now I'm like thinking about the Volkswagen Jetta. I'm thinking about the Corrado. I'm thinking about these Volkswagen cars, the Rabbit. I'm like, I'm gonna get me a Volkswagen. I'm gonna be driving to school. It's lit.
Rabbits were insane, but everybody wanted the Rabbit, bro.
I'm like, I'm gonna get a Rabbit. I'm gonna get a two-tone.
Yeah. After Trey and Boys in the Hood, everybody wanted a fucking Volkswagen. You know what I mean?
So I was like, all right, B. You know what I mean? I go hang out, and then my pops calls me. He's like, yo, I gotta ask you something. I'm like, what? He's like, yo, what do you have in your room that's not supposed to be there? I'm like, what do I have in my room that's not supposed to? Yo, what you doing in my room, yo? I got mad defensive. I'm like, yo, what you doing in my room, yo? Like, and I already been smoking weed for like the last 4 months before they even find out, because they're already looking at me like, you all red, you come in here eating grits and 5 o'clock in the evening. You know what I mean? You're making breakfast and like, what's going on with you, right? And I'm an athlete at the time. My decoy was I play tennis. So
wow, you really aren't.
So I was the #1 boys tennis player in Manhattan. You know what I'm saying? Wow. Boys 16. You know what I mean? Wow. So I was like on some like stealth, like really like with the cover up, like I'm going to play tennis. And I played on the tour. I really was like nice in tennis.
That's a sign of a fledgling drug kingpin. You know who played tennis? Was a great tennis player?
Yeah,
Freeway
Ricky Ross.
That's it.
Yeah, you know, it's a self strategy. It's like I don't need no team to win, unless we're playing Davis Cup and every man for himself. If you don't bring home a win, then you might get kicked off the team. Mm-hmm. And we don't share notes. Yeah, because I might have to play you on another tournament. Yeah, even though you're on my team.
Most cats that succeed in the drug game are not gangsters. They're usually educated, well-spoken, individualistic, not afraid to think differently.
So my balance came with this. This is where my balance came in. My mother's from Louisiana. My father's from Trinidad. Founded, like when I say founded, like he was founded in Trinidad to come to the United States to work as an engineer. Like physical welding and all this stuff, right? So he came over here on a trade, and he was a tyrant in Trinidad. You know what I'm saying? Like big burly, like 13 brothers and sisters. Pops passed away when they were young, beating people up, fighting a lot. The middle child. You know what I mean?
Hard man.
Hard man.
Bad man.
Hands like this, like so he passed. His hands were like double mines. Wow. Right? So then my mother's from Louisiana. She had a hard life. Both her parents died when she was young. You know what I mean? Mm. So she grew up coming to New York being like, all right, we made it. So I'm the prodigy of that. I'm like, my existence, I'm like, when I go down south, it's like, oh, you from up north. I go to Trinidad, it's like, oh, you're a Yankee boy, right? And I'm like, y'all crazy, y'all. Because to me, your country and y'all are some islanders. Like, y'all, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're not New Yorkers. So who are you to look?
I'm too diverse because I'm dealing with every nationality of the Latino community. Mm-hmm. I'm dealing with every nationality of Black culture. Mm-hmm. I'm dealing with every nationality of Asians. I'm dealing with every nationality of white people. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, for real. When I say that, it's like Europeans, Polish, Czechoslovakian. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I think that's why statistically, Black people in America that come from somewhere else, right? Immigrants from the Caribbean, Africa, they tend to do better because they're not hung up by the history of, you know, this country, which is ugly. Right. You know what I mean? They're not as hamstrung by, you know, the past.
So when my father came to New York, right, my mother, they met uptown on 137th Broadway in Riverside, which actually became one of my stomping grounds as an adult, not even by like growing up on the block, even though I spent almost my whole life being over there, but not in that context. It was like going to see family, friends, you know what I'm saying? 158th and Broadway in Amsterdam was the same for me. I've been going there since I was a child through my mother's friends. You feel what I'm saying? My father, his family lived on 183rd and Grand Avenue, you know what I'm saying? Which is where like OG Mac and all these gangsters and the Bloods and all this stuff. This is where this came from.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like it used to be a block where all the drug dealers would just be congregating with their little mans, you know what I'm saying? That they go out of town with and get money with, you know what I mean? Congregate for a little while, smoke some weed, roll dice, shoot the shit, go to the movies, you know, get two jugs of Bacardi, you know what I mean? Go in the movie theater, crack jokes, and then leave and get back to the money.
Yeah, interrupt whoever's there to watch the movie.
Yeah, so when my parents found the work, right? When they raided my room,
right?
It was basically like, it's like, come home, let's deal with this. I'm like, yeah, right. I'm not going home. Crazy. There's nothing to talk about. I'm like, I'm not, at that point I was like, I'm not trying to be in a place where I'm like trying to get forgiveness for some that I know was already wrong. You dig?
So you didn't want to go face your parents.
Face them for what? For them to be like, you're on punishment and all this. I was like, man, all of that. You know what? My SAT score just came in. I scored 1350 on it. I thought I was a genius off that. I got the second highest score in my homeroom. I was like, what? I already got, this is the only class I'm passing right now. Problem solving? I was like, all right, watch this. I called my man. I was like, yo, they found the pack, yo. And I was like, yo, I'm still coming up there. So I left home. And like in the middle of high school, I left home. Wow. I went up there. I took my last check from my job at the Gap. Yeah. I went and I was like, yo, I gotta go back down and get my last check. I went and got my last check. I bought some more crack, went back. We flipped that to $5,000. I bought an ounce of crack. Yeah. Ounce of crack was like $400 back then.
Wholesale, if you had the poppy.
It wasn't no wholesale. The whole Broadway had crack.
Right, that's what I mean.
It was like wholesale for drug dealers.
Yeah, right.
So that's the part of, you know, Harlem when it's like East Side, West Side, when it started changing. Where it's like the West Side got all the drugs.
Right.
Central Harlem's where you get the drugs off. East Harlem is, you could get the drugs off, but you might have to shoot somebody. You heard? Like, it's kind of wild though.
The East Side was wild, even though that's where Spanish Harlem is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, but I mean, if you're going up, so you went upstate?
I went upstate New York. So back in the days, you know, when Alpo used to be like, yo, I'm going out of town, I'm going to DC. Yeah. You know, once he got jammed up, it like unleashed everyone going out of town. Yeah. To get money. Yeah. Because when I ended up out of town in Ithaca, New York, it was like Pleasantville to me. Yeah. I was like uncharted territory. Yeah. Only thing that was going on was like a couple coke sniffers. To bring a crack vial was like, yo, he just brought crack from New York, yo. Yeah.
That's fly. Everybody wants a part of it.
In a snowstorm, they were like wearing Converse All-Stars. Like we're wearing Timberlands and North Faces geared to stay outside the whole time. Yeah. Like in a blizzard, we're out there like this, like we got it. Those out-of-town drug dealers, they had to go in. They're like, their jackets are little, like they're cold, complaining and shit. Like we outside like this with champagne bottles. We're up in the snow getting money. You heard?
So you were really posted like that in Ithaca? Yeah. With cracks?
Yeah. Because it wasn't something that they knew about. Right. So they didn't know we were doing that.
So at 15, 16 years old, you buy an ounce for $400 on Broadway and go upstate
and get
5 hours
and go get $4,500 off the ounce.
That's big money for a kid back then.
Yeah. So there was a song KRS-One had, you know what I mean, called "Love's Gonna Get You," and that came out in '92, and that was like really my theme song for hustling, because it was like I make about a G a week. F school, right? So I was like, I made 5 G's in a week. It's really school. Yeah. It's really school. You know what I'm saying? And even with the tennis, like I played on the tennis team in Harlem at the Armory, right? On 141st and 5th Avenue, right? So it was all black kids. It wasn't like white kids in our facility. It was like James Blake and all these kids playing in our facility. Like a tournament team, and our whole thing was to beat these little overprivileged white kids. Right. So even though people are like, oh, you play tennis, this soft, like, yeah, but what you don't realize is that we're like, most of the kids who played were from the projects, they from, you know, broken homes and shit. And we will definitely beat you up. Like kids my age physically couldn't like contend with me because my pops was such a tyrant. Yeah. That it's like, you being my age, I'll punish you, I'll f you up, my shit. I don't give a what's going on. Like, I'll beat the brakes out of you. I'm always top 3 in any school I went as far as fighting. High school was a little different because it was big kids in there. It was like way bigger. So I had to really stand my ground. So it was like, what? Oh, you're going to play tennis? What? I'll crack this racket over your head, bro. Stop playing with me. Shut the up. You know what I'm saying? And that just ushered me right into the drug game. Right. So I kept that same energy. All my boys was there. So we was like from day one. So it was like we crewed up.
Yeah, you guys got brolic, as I think they used to say.
And then we started playing with the weapons, and it was like.
So what happened to high school now that you got this spot?
I dropped out of high school.
Yeah, I figured. So are you going back and forth to pick up and then bring back?
Yeah.
Are you smart with your money? What? Because you're clearly an entrepreneur.
Well, first of all,
a long thinker.
I was a kid, right? And our bills back then, like rent everywhere we went was like literally under $300.
Yeah.
Everywhere we went. So to make $5K, it's like pay this for a whole 2 years.
Right.
The rent. We didn't give a about none of that because we'd be like, we could get any apartment we want.
Yeah.
And I've always been known to have multiple locations. And so like in the last couple of years, like in like the last decade and a half, I was like, I'm chill, I'm done with all of that. I already did all that shit 1,000 times. You feel what I'm saying? So yeah, it was like, we're making this money, we don't care. Saving money for what? What are we gonna buy? A store to go to jail? We don't want no property. We don't want no assets at that time. We're just having fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're like, I'm still supposed to be in high school.
Yeah. Right.
You feel me? So now it's like, my graduating class is graduating from high school. As soon as I went upstate, I caught a case. You know what I mean? As soon as I got there, I caught a case with my man. They jumped me and my cousin, like my family cousin, not my real cousin, like friend cousin, like
country cousin.
Yeah, country cousin. I mean, they jumped us. I mean, they kind of like ushered us out of a party. Mind you, I was only 128 pounds back then. You feel me? So, but we were dangerous, real dangerous, and we had wild guns up there. And I was like, yo, and it was like a lot of racist going on upstate. We did bar fights every weekend. You know what I mean? So we were kind of prepared for this bar fight this weekend. But before the bar fight happened, we got ushered out this house party. You dig what I'm saying? And and then it got popping, and then we got wild respect because it ended up in like gun smoke and like everyone beat up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You guys, Ava is one of my new favorite sponsors of this show. I talked about them a few episodes ago. They're a credit building app that helps you build up good credit fast. I was just denied for a small business loan recently, which enrages me. But look, I've dealt in cash and cash businesses for so long. I didn't realize the importance of having like a robust credit history. And what Ava does is it makes it super simple to build up your credit history by plugging in monthly payments that you already make and reporting them to credit rating agencies. So for instance, Netflix, your rent, your car payment, credit card payments, you have so many automatic payments you make every month anyways. By using Ava, they report those to credit rating agencies, and you build up this super strong credit history very fast. That's how simple it is. And Ava is just $6 a month and could potentially save you thousands of dollars when it comes to getting an auto loan, a home loan. It's so important to be plugged in to the financial system. And check it out, Ava's for everybody. There's no credit check, there's no interest, and there's no fees. Ava is the highest rated credit building app with thousands of 5-star reviews. It's the only credit building app rated excellent on Trustpilot and that has an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. Don't let your credit hold you back another day. Grow your credit score fast with Ava. Download the Ava app now, AVA, and when you join using my promo code CONNECT, CONNECT, you'll get your first month free. Just try them out. I'm using my own promo code, and I'm actively right now building up my credit using Ava. This offer is for my listeners only. Get the Ava app and use promo code CONNECT to get your first month free. That's promo code CONNECT. Thank you, Ava, and now go get yourself a good credit score. Okay, so everybody, all the white guys relate to living in a college town, and then these black urban drug dealers show up, and they kind of become like college students.
We wasn't even in our town. We were in a whole nother town.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. We were like in Cortland, New York or some shit like
I've heard
that.
of Cortland.
Yeah, it was crazy. You know what I mean?
These are just like upstate New York shitholes.
We weren't like that. We were just going there to party.
Right.
Like, we were just going there to party on some like.
So you caught a drug case?
No, we caught an assault case.
Oh, I see.
You did?
I see.
But we were smart back then. I ain't even gonna lie. We were all like mad smart. Like, you know what I mean? My boys from New York, they all have 2-parent families. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we all mischievous. We from the 80s. We like latchkey kids. We've been outside forever by doing our own thing. You dig? We've been adults since. I've been an adult since I was 8.
Mm-hmm.
You heard? I was judging adults since I was a kid. Like, you know what I mean? So
how did the crack go by the wayside? Did you retire, or it sounds like you caught a case?
I eventually retired, but it was a while before I retired, though. You know what I mean? What happened was, I was really peaking in like '94. I was going crazy. Like I was really getting bread.
What did that look like? Did you have a bigger package, or were you just?
It looked like I had turned Upstate into what New York was kind of like, which was multiple crack houses.
Mm-hmm.
So I would just be like, I'll poly with the crackhead, and then I hate to say it like that, man, because I don't look at it like that anymore. I look at it like I didn't, you know what I mean? I don't want to say I didn't know what I was doing, because I did know what I was doing, but everyone was doing it. So it's like when everyone does it, it's kind of like justified.
Sure.
You dig? But I don't look at people like crackheads anymore. I look at people with drug addictions, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And mental health issues. I don't look at it, I don't like calling people, you know what I mean, to their addiction.
Mm.
You dig what I'm saying?
I totally get it. Now with the onslaught of fentanyl, you look at crack and you're like, man, that wasn't so bad.
It's not so bad.
It's really not so bad. I mean, it could turn you into a zombie. It did.
When I said, when I poly with these fiends, I learned that they were functioning fiends.
Yeah.
Like they had good jobs. They had basically more money than people who were fake successful in New York.
Oh, really?
They had a house, they had money to buy drugs. Like the drugs wasn't like it was like they partying, they spending they hard-earned money. And until that money runs out, they lose their job.
Yep.
And now they're fiends and they outside looking for crack.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying?
So you were buying soft now and bringing it up to them, and they were chefing it up, or? At
first I was buying hard, but that wasn't like, that was like whack. That was like, nah, you gotta cook that shit.
Because the Dominicans would give you like
mush,
nasty cook up, right?
Blow up.
Yeah.
You don't know what's in that.
Yeah. So that's why you gotta chop it yourself. You gotta step on it yourself.
I started cooking the work, I mean, and I ain't gonna lie, it was so crazy that I was making wild money just cooking work. Like the packs would come and they'd be like, yo, you cook the work for me? I'd be like, yup, and I just charge them to cook the work. Wow,
so you were really a crack chef.
Yeah.
How'd you learn? Other crackheads? I learned
from a crackhead.
Yeah. the crack cooking phenomena, it really is just like, it was word of mouth. It was just each one teach one.
I learned 3 times, but it stuck on the 3rd time. So my man showed me, he was like a crack dealer, like a real super crack dealer from the Bronx, right? Super crack dealer, right? So he showed me how to cook it. 7 grams of soft for 1 gram of baking soda, right? You see what I'm saying? See that's why I got lost back then. I was like, because I'm thinking like, I'm fresh out of high school. I'm thinking science project. I'm like, test tube. I'm like, he's like, look, you got to get a mayonnaise jar and you got to take the label off. And I'm like, that is going to break. Like, it's not very difficult, actually. You feel what I'm saying? He's like, oh, you got to do the measurements like this. I'm like, huh? He's like, come on, man. He used to call me. He's like, yo, man, this is before Puff Daddy. He was like, yeah, Fluff. He used to call me Fluff because my hair, right? He was like, come on, Fluff, man. Come on, man. You got to get it right, man. I'm like, nah, that ain't how you do that. I don't know how to do it. I f***ed the work, but then I realized I wasn't buying good work. You got to buy work that's going to come back. Yeah, you put this in there, shit start bubbling up. You're like, then by the time it drops, it's like disintegrated. Right. Come to find out that, you know, he was like, oh, Colombian fish scale. Bro, do you know what Colombian fish scale is? No. Colombian fish scale, right, is basically a Chinese baking, a Chinese detergent powder, right, that says fish scale on it. And when you open the bag, it looks like fish scale. And they take this and they mix it in the coke and they press the coke together.
Right.
So when you look at it, it has these little
grooves,
these gleams. Because real coke is paste that's hardened. You know what I'm saying? And it's really matte. It's like real coke on the breakup is like matte.
What do you mean matte?
Like matte colored.
Uh-huh.
It's not like
off-white.
It's not like shimmers of like layers and layers and layers. So yeah, man, don't act like y'all got the best work. Y'all got that dishwashing soap, man.
I got that A1 fish scale.
They're like, no, this is for sniffing. I'm like, oh, word? I heard, like, no, this is not for cooking. Why is it not for cooking? Oh, because it's stepped on. And
That's it.
And when it bubbles up like that, it's because it's what happens when you take dish detergent and heat it up? I mean, soap powder bubbles up.
Uh-huh. Okay. So you had to get to good coke, which, as I've discovered just talking to enough cats from that era, it was easy to get coke, hard to get good coke. So did you eventually get to the good coke?
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
So I got right to that. So there was some mishaps, along the way. You know what I mean? My boy got locked up. He did a little skid bit, you know what I mean? But he beat it though. He didn't beat it, but it was like, yo, he had to be like, I was using it.
Right. It was a good out.
It was like, damn. It was a good out, but it's like, the side joke is always like, you a crackhead. On paper, you're a fiend.
Right. Yeah, right.
They do a background check, you a crackhead, homie. Right? But it's like, I ain't go to jail, right? So, yeah, we got to good coke. One of the top coke dealers that we was getting it from, he eventually got locked up, snitched on the whole hood. You dig what I'm saying? Thank God we wasn't with him at the time.
He even gave up his workers and
gave up everything, plugs and all that.
Black guy or Dominican?
Dominican. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then, that became more personable relationships. But after I went to jail in 97 and I came out and I had my first kid, I started having new premonitions about how I wanted to move.
Okay. How long did you do? How long your first bid?
I did a sentence year to Rikers Island.
So you were on Rikers?
In 97.
So Rikers in the 90s was pretty wild.
Yeah, the Bloods was running crazy. And I mean, it was a movement going on.
Did you have to fade? Did you have to do anything? Or you just sit it out?
I wasn't a gang member, so I'm going to get to that. So in 94, I told you I was peaking. I was doing all these things. And then I caught a case. I caught like a transporting case, right? And I went on the run because I gave him a fake name. I did all this, you know what I mean? I was on gave him a fake name, got up out of there. After they let me out on a 45-day motion, I got out. I was like, I'm not going back to court. That's not even in my name. And it was like a B felony, you know what I'm saying? For like drug possession. I was like, oh my God, this is corny, man. I'm like, I'm not going to jail for that. I'm not going to sit down right now. No way.
I get it. Make it worth it. At least when I was locked up, I was like, man, at least I made it worth it. I talked to some of these sorry.
Like, I'm about to go do 5 years for what? Nothing. But I had money though at the time. So I was still lit. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna move around. I ended up in Baltimore. When I got out to Baltimore, I still was like on some drugs, but I was like, my man was like, I live at the college. I go to college out here, Morgan. And all my boys from high school was at Morgan. Because I went to A. Philip Randolph High School, which is on 135th and Convent, which is in the center of Harlem. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, everybody goes to Morgan University now, like 15 dudes, not all from Harlem, but just from New York in general. So I'm like, I'm comfortable. I'm like, oh, cool. All my friends is here from high school. I ain't seen them in about 2 years. I'm on the run. They're looking at me like, damn, you scored the highest in the SAT, and now you on the run. And
tennis star.
They're like, you're not even in the
Gap worker.
They're like, you're not even working here. I'm like, nah. They're looking at me like, yo, why you look dirty like that? Same thing I told my boy. I was like, so I be hustling. I be with the grimies, like for real. I be really outside, like, y'all don't even understand the type of shit I be doing, sleeping in the crack spot all night and like that with the guns. We load it up every night, like every night. We protecting shit at the end of the day. I mean, so
you're there. What's the play?
So the play was when I got out of jail. Oh my bad. So I'm out there and I meet my boys from 183rd and out in Baltimore, and I'm like, I just almost skipped, and I was like, oh, what y'all doing out here? It was like, we sell weed. I'm like, word? I got a little flow in the college with the weed. Because we started selling weed out the dorm, right?
Yeah.
So when I linked with them, I really started booming. Like, it was booming. It was crazy. It's like, I was like, yo, I don't want to be at the college, though. Like, they was like, my boy was like, yo, what's wrong with this? What's wrong with him, man? He wants to move with us? Yo, man, he go to college, man. He's a good kid. Like, I don't want, I'm like, my man was like, that ain't no good kid, man. He's a piece of shit. He's a piece of shit. He sell drugs up in that college. He don't go there. Yeah. My man was like, what? For real? He was like, yo, tell him to come with us, man. Get him out that college, man. Stop disrupting those kids from getting their education, right? Hey, when I pulled up to the spot, he was like, yo, you don't go to that college? I was like, nah, man. I was like, I just hustled there, man. He was like, yo, I thought you went there, man. I could have swore we was corrupting you. I was like, corrupting me? I was like, I got you. I was like, see, you thinking wrong, B. You know what I'm saying? The next thing I know, we running it up. He's like, come on, we going to Texas.
Okay, so are you giving weed to your boys there?
I ain't giving them. I'm orchestrating an enterprise. I got them hustling for me.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
I gave it to my boy, but ultimately I took the other dorm over. I had everybody selling weed.
Okay, who's back in the mid-90s? I mean, is this weed from Canada? What are East Coast hustlers, where are they getting their weed from in the 90s?
So boom, my first pack of weed, now I already done hustled weed and went out to go get weed on my own. I ended up in San Diego. That's the first spot in like 93.
Oh, wow. So you're enterprising.
I was already shipping weed in the mail since then.
Oh, daddy.
Pounds.
Daddy, cat daddy, talk to me.
Right?
Now you're speaking a language I understand. Yeah. Is this Mexican, San Diego, is this Mexican weed?
Yeah.
Okay, and
it was $325 a pound.
Wow. And so at 93, when you're 18, you had the audacity to put it in the mail.
Yes.
Before this was like common knowledge.
You know why I had the audacity to put it in the mail? Because my white boys from downtown in Manhattan were already sending weed in the mail too.
Wow.
And I was like, you sent it in the mail? They were like, yeah, bro, this is how we be doing it. I'm like, heard you. Wow. So by the time I met my homegirls from upstate in Ithaca that lived in San Diego, right, they were like, we get the weed and we ship it back. I'm like, you ship it back? How? They were like, we do it all the time. I'm like, word? I'm coming out there. I went out there, I sent like 5 pounds back at first, and the most I was sent with them was like 10.
That's a lot of joints though, in the mail.
Yeah, it was.
And this is the United States mail?
No, it was like UPS.
UPS?
UPS back then.
Okay.
I wasn't using like regular USPS. That was like scary to me. Like,
right.
Wait 10 days. I was like, nah, I gotta come the next day. It's like pay for next day mail. Like, you know.
So they even had next day air back in the early 90s.
Yeah, so I did that, but like I said, weed was like the whack hustle. It's like boring. It was like once you sell 10 pounds of weed, it's like your flow is kind of like over.
No.
Back then it was.
But the profit margin, if you're buying a pound of weed in San Diego for $350, what can you sell in Baltimore for?
Well, I was selling it in Ithaca and I was getting like $2,200 a pound.
That's incredible. You can't.
What's the breakdown? I'll sell it wholesale.
Okay, you'd have to break it down.
I'll sell it wholesale for like $1,300.
I see. But still, it's $1,000.
I was killing. But it still was like, you're boring, you're whack.
So it was the stigma. It wasn't the money. It was the stigma. You didn't want to be a cool guy from Harlem that sold weed.
My best friends were like, how much you move? I'm like, 10 pounds. It took me a week. They're like, you just did 3 bricks.
Yeah.
I'm like, and I put them on.
Right.
I put all my boys on. I put everybody. I've been putting people on since I came outside. You heard?
Mm.
You know what I mean?
I heard.
I really have. And I give that all. See, this is the part that I'm leaving out, which is like, here goes another where you're like, oh, you have a good family, right? So my mother was a Jehovah's Witness. So I grew up Jehovah's Witness too. You dig what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. My father wasn't. He was like on some like anti-religion type of time, on some Trinidadian, Indian, I get money. I was even like, he would be like low-key racist on some like to black people. And I used to be like, how do you have a black wife and you're racist? Like, I don't understand this. So me and him.
Green card.
Yeah. Yes. So me and him always kind of clashed, you know what I mean? Because I was so dark, you know what I mean? And I was like, aren't you embarrassed that your son is so black? Your father was black as me. They used to be like, don't worry about you being black. His father was black as you,
Yeah.
I was like, for real? I was like, that's why he be resenting me. You know what I mean? And then even after he passed, I asked my mother recently, like within like the last 2 years, I was like, yo, let me ask you something. I was like, yo, how did you end up with a racist Indian? Like, how did you end up with him? Like, how did that happen, I just want to know. She was like, I think it's because he was trying to get his green card. I was like,
did I not call him?
I was like, yo, real, you should have been told me that. Because that's the only conclusion that I could have came up with. You know what I'm saying? But you don't want to think that about your parents.
No.
Like, my dad's only with my mom's for a green card. Like, what?
Well, good dick too. He probably had.
I don't want to think about that.
Yeah, good dick. Everybody knows that. It's like the Eddie Murphy joke.
He's some freaky ass. He eating mussels and clams and oysters.
Right. Crazy
like,
concoctions.
Like, yo, bro.
Island cats are on some different.
Pepper sauce, the hottest pepper sauce that you can't even smell it.
Right.
You dig? So when I'm linked with my boys in Baltimore with the weed, they're like, look, come on, we're going to Texas. So when we get out there, we with the Jamaicans.
Where in Texas?
Houston.
Okay.
So we go out there, and the Jamaicans automatically took a liking to me. They're like, West Indian kid.
Right.
He's well-spoken. He's well-mannered. He's not like stupid. You know what I mean? And West Indians are very on some like, you have to have common sense.
Right.
And I had a lot of common sense.
Right.
And then I'm with some gangsters. I'm not with no like, I'm with the dude, right, who basically started the Crips in New York City. You dig what I'm saying? Yeah. Like when OG Mac had the Bloods, my man was in the newspaper every day going to war with this dude. You dig what I'm saying though? Like for real, like that's who I'm with out in Baltimore.
Right. So that's your back. You're basically the de facto leader of a bunch of New York gangsters, but you're this well-spoken, educated, from good stock,
fly kid.
That's it.
Right. And then my other boy, who's like my OG, he's like, it's only two people who could get that title with me of being my OG. Is it another person, but he's not like, he's more like big brother than OG. You dig what I'm saying? OG is almost like father figure, I would say, coming up under the drug game. You dig what I'm saying? Where it's like, you're not my father, but you kind of like, you playing that role though.
Right.
And nobody can't get that because only my father could get that.
Right.
So for me to give you that kind of look, you know what I'm saying? It has to be on some like some shit. And nobody ever was on some gang. You feel me? Like we're gang. Like these dudes are like straight hard, like for real, like disciplined, hard providers,
professional
men,
drug dealers,
alpha.
Yep.
You heard?
Yep.
No weird stories. Like only weird stories that they violated somebody's whole shit. You heard? No matter how it goes down. You heard?
Right. Did any of your, at like 18, 19, 20, did any of your Harlem posse have bodies on them?
No.
Okay. I believe you. Will believe you. Because that separated a lot,
No.
That brought people up.
No, because I'm gonna be real, like the murder game, right? That was already like glorified. If a murder happens, then that murder happens. It's over, whatever happens. You understand what I'm saying? It's like we money getters. So murder is never on the like, that's only on the table if it's like just playing. Like they robbed us. We never been robbed. So it's like,
because you were always dealing with.
Yeah, murder's a retaliation for drugs and over women. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah. And plus, Harlem cats were all about getting money. You guys were murderers. Murder is a Bronx, Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn thing. So it ain't a Harlem thing, bro.
I was with some Bronx. I wasn't with Harlem.
Oh, boy.
You dig?
Oh, boy.
I don't need a Harlem with me because at the end of the day, it's going to be a clash. Because what you think? You get more money than me?
You're jealous of each other. Who can be flyer?
No, we're never jealous. It's just we in our own space.
I see.
I've never been jealous of nobody ever in my life. I promise you.
Okay, so
when you're jealous of me, that's a different story. But you know what I'm saying?
When you get to why Houston, because you guys had to connect there?
Yeah, so our Jamaicans is out here and they getting the weed from the Mexicans.
I see.
Thousands of pounds, right? So when I get there, they're like, yo, They like, yo, leave him, leave. They called me Indio. They was like, yo, because my boys hated the name Shiest. They was like, why is your name Shiest? They was like, you fly, get money. You're not shiesty.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, I'm a shiest detector.
I see.
Like, I detect the shiesty. I could tell who's who. Because my understanding of the word of God lets me radar people as far as, are they a good person, are they not? And what are they responsible for and what are they not responsible for as far as understanding certain things. So if I know you're a street dude and you don't really got golly guidance, I know how to deal with you.
It's helpful when you're in the streets.
Yeah. And
So,
those who are, which a lot of them are, like the successful ones do have that.
Yeah.
Because they have the understanding that you know, like you can't play both sides of the fence. It's either you're serving God or you're on the other side going hard and doing whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that becomes the whole like that fork in the road of consciousness of how people move and how they think, no matter what religion you're in. Because you could grow up Jewish and be like, have all these thoughts. Yeah. It doesn't matter what religion. Anyone could just drift off with trying to blend in and be sociably acceptable. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. In their own space, not even like they're trying to fit in nowhere. It's like, who are you?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That really served you, having the God in your life. And then you learn all these
things about the past, and then it's like, as the future goes on, you're like, you've been brainwashed. It's like, a lot of these things are lies, or they're just premonitions of the time. They're not things that continue on the same. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%.
So when we were out there, basically they took a liking to me. They were like, yo, let Indio stay out here with us. My man was like, for what? Like, stay out here for what? It's like, nah, we want him to work with us. Like, we want him to be on our team. Like, because I would go, you know, I'd come down there with like, my man was like, yo, bring an ID. I went down there like mad times, like 15 times.
Down to Mexico?
No, to Houston.
Okay.
So they were like, after the first trip, they was like, yo, when you go back to New York, go get like 10 fake IDs. I was like, all right. Yeah. I came back down there with the IDs and they put me to work. They was like, go to Western Union. My man gonna drive you. Just go to all these Western Unions and pick up this money. Here's the slips with the names. And word to mother, I go pick up the money. I get my percentage off of all the money I picked up off every joint I pick up, I get paid, right? So I was like, this is sweet. Right?
Just the bag man.
Then they be like, the Mexicans would come through, they drop off like 5,000 pounds. They be like, yo, break those down. Me and two other dudes, another Jamaican dude and my other man. They be like, my other man was with us too. They be like, yo, break those into 100 blocks. Do you know what to break down 5,000 pounds into 100 blocks is? Bagging up nickels and dimes. My arms used to be all rashed up, like broken out into hives from bagging up all this, like breaking down all these blocks of weed. Triple beams, we breaking those, like breaking triple beams, like on a regular, like bong, bong, 100 pounds, 100 pounds, 100 pounds, 100 pounds.
You're chucking hay, bro.
Yeah. No, literally.
Those were your cowboy days. You should have been dressed like that.
Then. How long you been smoking backwards? Oh yeah, since 95. Because in that Jamaican house, they'd be like, if you light up anything other than a backwood, you gotta go home. Yeah. You can only smoke natural leaf in here. You can't smoke no Phillies, none of that.
You Baltimore.
95.
Right. Wow.
95. I'm like, that's why y'all talk like this. Yeah, man. Yo, why I say, yo, come on, Indio. Bag it up, Indio. Go wash your hands, Indio. Yeah. You're gonna eat the food with the weed on your hands. Right? It's like,
on your hands.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So after that operation, you know, we lost all this weed in the mail.
Okay, so who were they moving it to?
My man.
In New York or Baltimore?
Wow. We were doing like 400 pounds a week. You know what I'm saying? Back then.
So they would facilitate the shipping of it, and you would collect the Western Union joints.
But that's from other people all around the country.
I see. So these guys are moving thousands of pounds a week.
What? They would, I was like, we're just like a 16th of the operation. Wow. They was getting money. Wow. They had all types of houses down there.
Holy. But 400 pounds in your operation is really good still.
I was like, yo, there's real money in weed.
That was your light bulb moment.
I was like, oh.
Because what is a unit if you guys are picking up 400 in Baltimore?
So we were getting the pounds for $525. right? And we would sell them in Baltimore wholesale for 800. 800.
But 400 at a.
But we had a heroin kingpin from Baltimore that used to come and buy like 300 of them.
Really?
Every week. And he'd give it to all his little homies in Baltimore, East Side, West Side, and just give them weeds. Like give all of them weed. Like, oh, here's 20 pounds for your spot. Here's 20 pounds for your spot. Here's 20 pounds for your spot.
Wow.
Word to my mother. That was my man's golden ticket.
And that was UPS.
Yeah.
UPS only.
Yep.
Not even FedEx.
Yep. And then it just started crumbling. Like we go on missions to take the money, get knocked by the DA, take our money. That's when it just started ending. After we all got knocked by the DA one time, confiscated our money, then we lost like 400 pounds in the mail. My man was like, no. He's like, nah, it's over. One day, after I got bagged and I came back from Texas, he was like, I was like, yo, what's up? What we gonna do? He's like, they just caught 200 pounds. He was like, it's over. I was like, what you mean it's over? He's like, you heard what I said? It's over. I'm like, oh, I'm going back to New York.
So one of those cats, what does that mean when you say it's over? I mean,
what he means is that
they have a case, or they just don't want to risk.
He was like,
sending
first of
that
all,
much
the
money.
police was sending messages like, yeah, if you want your package, come pick it up.
Oh, dude, I've had a couple of those messages.
Right, and then we all came back from the trip like, the DEA said, if you want your money, you can come pick it up. And he was looking at us like, I'm like, yeah. You didn't tell him it was you. They just, you know how the cops are? They're like, tell your boss he can come pick his money up. You know what I'm saying? So, boom. Operation stop.
Right.
We came back to New York. The Jamaican loved me though.
Right. So they're still in business.
Yeah. So they were like, Indio, what you doing? I said, what you mean what I'm doing? I'm going somewhere else. I'm going back upstate. Right. But to a different town. They was like, hit this when you get there, you know. It's like, yeah. They started sending me pounds.
What was the town? What was this new town?
Back to Ithaca.
You're back to Ithaca. Yeah. This nice college town.
Yeah. So I'm killing them with the weed. I got my white boys. They're buying everything off me. As soon as I get it, they're like, you got the weed? I'm like, yo.
Now, what kind of quality is this in 19?
Skunk weed. It's like Arizona weed.
Okay.
So it's not like straight, nasty brown brick weed.
Right, no. It's like green, at least.
It's Jamaican green. It's Mexican green weed.
Right.
That smells skunky. We called it skunk weed.
Right.
So we're like, yes. When we used to see the weed, we used to be like, yes. It smells skunky. Thank God.
Right.
At least it's not the brick weed.
Right. It smells like gasoline.
Because I could get $1,200 for this.
Right. Wholesale.
Yeah. If it's brick weed, I can only get the most $700.
Right.
And it's just a matter of a grade. It's a color.
Right.
It's just that simple.
So that was the going bud. That was considered in upstate New York in 1997 pretty good weed.
Excellent. Being that there was reservations up there, and it was already, I discovered kind bud and kind bud weed in 91 when I first went up to Ithaca. Right. That's the first thing I got exposed to.
And kind bud is, I believe, back then was the stuff that they were importing from Canada on the Indian reservations, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so was your weed from the Jamaicans out of Mexico better than the kind bud?
Hell no.
So then, but it was commercial, so you could move more of it?
Yes.
Because it was cheaper.
Because upstate New York, you already had all these New Yorkers coming up there selling New York weed, chocolate.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. Skunk weed.
Okay.
Now I got it for the number.
Right. You're moving it like I used to move it. Like I didn't deal with top shelf. Mm-hmm. Like I wouldn't buy a pound for 4,000. No. A couple at a time.
Top
I like buying
top shelf back then was like the most 1,800, 2,200 for anything like super expensive.
Right.
Okay. So
but that was always in short supply.
Yes. But for us, for me, like the Jamaicans had it. Like the Dominicans, all right. I got introduced to the haze in like 91.
Okay. Like, but let's not, this is the crux of the story.
So
explain how we got there. Like with the moving the Arizona, the Airy.
So with the Airy, it was like, all right, we got the skunk weed. I could get that off for $1,200, $1,300 a pound. You know
and how much are you getting it from? What's the price to you?
I'm paying like $500, $525.
And you're moving how much a week through Ithaca?
Like 20 pounds a week.
So it's good. It's a good trade.
Yeah. So this is what happened. So I'm doing the weed thing, and I'm like, all right. But I'm like, then I lost a couple packs.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't getting in trouble or nothing. I just lost a couple packs, and I was like, my boy was like, yo, come sell coke with me again. So I was like, yeah, this weed. Come sell coke with you. Because he was doing numbers. He was like, the numbers was like, the money was like, I'm like, all right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for asking me.
Yeah.
I'm done with this weed because I'm having an anxiety attack of sending packs and waiting for the pack to touch and then not coming.
Right.
So I with him for a little while. Then I'm like, yo, I got this case, man. You know what I'm saying? That I was still on the run from.
Right. Oh, wow. Of course.
It's like 3 years that done passed now.
Wow.
And I'm like, yo, I bought a car. I bought a Land Cruiser. I was just like going crazy. I had the fake driver's license. And I'm like, yo, I'm like getting kind of crazy right now. I'm like, yo, I'm thinking about turning myself in for the charge and get this over with. Like, just go get and deal with it, right? Because I'm like, I can't take this being on the run, looking over my back everywhere I go. It's just kind of getting weird, right?
Yeah.
So I get into a situation where my car got stolen, right? Like off the street type.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, car got stolen. I'm like, I went to the store, like music blasting and go get some Phillies. I come back, my is gone. Like, I'm like, how old was I? I was like 19. I'm like, my car is gone. I called my man. I'm like, yo, my car got stolen. He was like, where? He was like, you can get the insurance money off that. Go file a police report. I'm like, I can't go to the precinct. I'm on the run, man. He was like, nah, go do that. So I'm like, I bet. I'm like, cool, I get caught, but I want my car back.
Yeah.
Like, I want my car back.
Yeah.
So I go file a police report. They're like, all right, we'll hit you up if anything. So I got the insurance doing get my money. I'm like, my shit got stolen. I mean, I get a phone call. Oh, we found your car. I'm like, found my car. Where? They like, yeah, it's in Baltimore. I'm like, I'm not even in Baltimore. Why would my car be in Baltimore? This is some crazy shit. So I go pick up my car. I come back up to New York. I ain't got no license plates on my no VIN number. They gave me like the pound just gave me my car back, like kind of like almost not total, but like wrecked a little bit. They're like, yeah, it's still good though. You just got some minor body work. Right. They ripped the VIN numbers out. They did all this to your car, but you good. Here's your paperwork. I drive this back up to New York. I get pulled over. They're like, yo, put your away. I get a phone call from the police like, yo, your car was in an accident. Blah, blah. I was like, my car was stolen. There's no way possible that my car could have been in an accident in the garage, yo. You should talk about it. And I really wanted my car back, right? So they're like, yo, you was a victim of a crime. I'm like, a victim of a crime? They was like, yeah, your car got stolen. They was like, we can help you get the VIN numbers back, all this. They ran the on me, right? So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go get my car back, right? Getting the VIN numbers and shit. So I'm walking to the garage where my shit is, and I was just like, I don't like the way this shit feels. I tell my girl, she's like pregnant at the time. She just got pregnant. I'm like, I don't even like calling my girl. She was just shorty. She was my girl at the time. I ain't gonna front. So anyway, I was like, yo, I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but I'm either gonna get my car back or I'm going to jail, right? Yeah. So I go there like, yo, what's up? We've been looking for this car. I'm like, what you mean you've been looking for this car, man? They're like, yeah, we know you're not such and such, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, busted. So I ended up going to jail. They was like, yo, your car was stolen. I was like, I know it was stolen. And it's like, no, it was stolen prior to you getting it. Wow. I'm like, really? I was like, I ain't know that. I know nothing about that. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I bought that from in the streets that was selling his whip, and I bought that from cash. He's like, word?
There you go.
They was like, either you're dumb or you're a genius. I'm like, I'm definitely not dumb. So they were like, all right, I got a paid attorney. Cause I had bread. I was selling crack. Like I was selling coke. I was selling bricks. So they were like, yo, you got this other charge that you want to run for. Your fingerprints came back. They're like, so you're gonna do time anyway, so we're gonna sentence you to a year. My lawyer was like, I can't even do nothing. It's like, you're supposed to walk out, but you got that other charge, so they want to get this time out of you. A year on Rikers Island? I'm like, yo, you gotta be me right now. It's 1997. You know what I'm saying?
It's a long year.
I'm like, I get to Rikers Island. I'm like this. I'm like, yo. First of all, I'm in the tombs and before I even get to Rikers Island, right? So I seen all type of scary, like, I don't want to go to Rikers Island.
Right.
I'm like, why? They like, nah, it's crazy over there.
Right.
I'm talking about gangsters is like backpedaling. I'm like, yo, I'm ready to go, man.
Yeah.
So I go over there with my man from Harlem, a big security dude who used to do security for Heavy D, my man Roy, Big Roy. I mean, shouts to my Big Roy.
R.I.P. Heavy D.
Yeah, R.P. Heavy D. So we on a bus going to Rikers Island, right? So he look at me, he's like, yo. I mean, and I got that look on my face where it's like, you could tell that I'm, you know what I mean? I get busy in the streets. Like, it wasn't no hiding that no more. It wasn't like the innocent look. That was kind of, that was over.
Right.
You heard? So he was like, yo, when we get to the island, B, I got your back, you got mine, Harlem. I'm like, I don't know what this been into. This, you know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know what he been into.
That's some scared person says. Hey, Harlem, right?
I'm like,
hey, we're together. Like, we're together in this, right?
Right? So I'm like, but when we got there, it was, you know what I mean? He was standing on business. He was standing on business. He went into security mode. Like, he went into security guard mode. And I went into Shiest Bubz with the gangster mode.
Right.
Like,
so tell us about it. Was it, you know, I know the $150, right? And all that, you know, cats getting sliced across the face, having their whole faces opened up. And was it really like that in the 90s or what was going on?
It was really like that. So prior to even being locked up, me and my pops, one of our altercations, he hit me in the face with a coffee mug and like cut my lip, right? So after that, I've already been on defense. Like, I don't let nobody get that close to me to do no shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Or even line myself up to where it's like you side talking and you're not aware of your surroundings. Yeah. You dig what I'm saying? I'm not even on that. I'm on some like peripheral crazy. Like, my eyes is on some like gangster. You heard? Like, I'm watching everything. So basically, I lost my thought.
No, I mean, just asking about Rikers.
Oh, so like, basically, I was just like on some like, this is Rikers Island. I'm on Rikers Island. Like, and basically, I was like, after being there for like 3 months, I had a job like cooking for the CEOs. I had just got this job cooking for the CEOs in the morning and stuff like that. And my house was getting kind of crazy where it's like, yo, we about to riot in this joint, B. Yeah. I'm like, riot for what? I'm like, we got it good. Right. We in a sentenced house. Yeah. It's a neutral house. It's not really, you know, anybody who's blood in there is like blood, but they on the low. Right? They like, yo, like, you about to riot, then I get extradited. They come to get me. They bring me down to intake. Whew. But I didn't even know what was going on. They called me down to intake. I'm like, yo, why are they calling me down to intake? Like, that's some shit that, you know, I'm like, police brought you down. Like, you telling them something like that? I'm like, you start looking at you like, oh, going down to intake for? Who you going to meet down there? You're not going to meet, visiting. It's not a visiting. I mean, but they extradited me. They took me up to Binghamton where I had this other charge at, right? And when I got there, I was just like, this is like a summer camp. This is like day camp. This is like, whoa, this is like some cool. Then my cousin was in there on the biggest case in Binghamton history. You know what I'm saying?
On some weed or
some
crack?
I mean, like, got caught with like 70 bricks and shit like that. So they was like getting praised in jail. It was crazy. It was like we smoking weed every day, drinking. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had fun. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. It was like,
prison can be fun.
For being in jail,
sure.
We had a blast. Right. You know what I'm saying?
How much time you got to do?
I had to finish my year sentence. Okay. So I had another 5 months to go. You know what I mean? So I'm in there for 5 months. Then my other case comes up. I basically was like, they're like, yeah, my lawyer's like, yeah. I was trying to be on some like slick broke, like, I ain't got no money, man. Oh, give me a public defender. I'm smart. I'm like, I'm gonna know how to beat my like I ain't gonna go out like that. So I'm like, I'm researching I'm like, illegal search and seizure, easy. My lawyer's like, no, you're going to jail. You have to take the offer. I'm like, I don't have to do shit. Thought about it for 2 seconds. I'm like, fired. Get him out of here. Sent my little bread in. Got me a paid lawyer. He was like, yeah, you know, I beat these every day, illegal search and seizure. You're gonna beat it too. I'm like, he came to see me. I was like, he's like, listen, man, I don't care what you about to tell me. He's like, it's never about what you did. It's only if they could prove it. So snap out of it. I was like, what's one for the Italians?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Slick back hair, and you see that gold Rolex. You're like,
Vincent Accardi. Shouts to Vincent Accardi. I'll never forget you, bro. Yo, five lines for Vincent Accardi in the Italian department. Are you crazy? 2 bites pizza. Listen, he saved me, got me out of jail. The judge,
they don't all hate black people.
Yo, the judge told my parents, my hardworking parents, looked at them, said, are you his parents? Like, yes. Your son is a career criminal. He'll be back. Wow. I was like, word.
He smelled that on you. The judge looked at you and was like,
She did.
She did. Yeah, she saw you. She was, oh, this guy's no good. He hasn't learned his lesson.
She was like, I don't know. Maybe it's Christmas. I don't know why you're getting out of jail right now.
Yeah.
But we'll see you when you come back.
Okay.
And I ain't gonna lie. It was like a double feeling of being like, stupid bitch, why would you say that to my parents? And then the other one was like, I'm lit. You just called me a career criminal. Good. I'm happy. Now don't ask me nothing about what I do.
Yeah, I'm certified.
I'm certified. I give it up crazy. Playing with me? All right. Watch this. So when I got out of jail, I had a kid.
You're like 22, 23 now. It's the late 90s.
22.
Okay.
I'm still 22.
Okay.
I'm like, got my first kid. What's going on?
Right.
So I was like, yo, the reason why I said earlier that my daughter had the same exact life as me is because I took her to my parents, and then my parents were like, I was like, I'll take her over there to her families. And which I did, because my parents were like, a kid? What? We don't even like you anymore. You're
seriously.
the bad son.
Yeah, you
come over here.
Broke our hearts.
You broke our hearts in the family.
Yeah.
And they're like, now you come over here with some little baby? How you know that's yours? You heard?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I had to take a blood test. I had to.
Oh.
Because it was too much bureaucracy with our relationship, me and this girl's relationship, for me not to do that.
Right.
Okay?
You want to
know what I'm saying? If you know what I'm saying, then you know what I'm saying. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna do that. Until I do that, y'all gotta take care of the baby.
Right.
So they did that.
Okay.
Once I got the results, I was like, you gotta send my child back over though.
Right.
Took it to my parents' house, and my parents raised her identical to my upbringing.
Right.
What happened to that? She became my little twin. So did she get beat up by me? Not beat up, but like an ass whipping?
Yeah.
Yeah, because she violated. But not in the way that I didn't even get an ass whipping like I gave her. You dig what I'm saying though? Because I was so disappointed, like, yo, I know for a fact that you know better.
Yeah, but you knew better too. So
I did.
And you weren't there.
I did.
You were on the run for her early years.
I did.
So what are you gonna do?
I didn't.
So you're on your second kid now. So things
that was my first kid.
Right. Okay, but you get out of jail.
I move on.
How do we expand into
so what happens
what
is,
eventually becomes the King of Haze
right,
in New York?
So I get out. I'm like, okay. My man's like, yo, you want in?
Who's that?
Coke dealer.
Okay.
So I'm like, yeah, I want in. It's mine's. I started it. I'm gonna finish it. You dumb. But I'm like, it's only on these terms that I'm gonna with it though. We're not having no more workers. Like all the workers you got, I'm firing. Everybody got to leave. I'm not with none of them. Like none of them could be around because I don't want no Codies. Because what I learned in jail was to sell coke was to catch a conspiracy charge automatically. You dig what I'm saying? And that has nothing to do with me. That has with somebody else cracking and being a snitch ass dude and telling or getting caught up and then being caught red-handed and having to tell their situation to get out of a situation, which will implement other people. You understand what I'm saying?
You'd rather just sell coke straight to the users.
I'd rather just sell it straight to the users, and instead of giving it to someone else to do it. And no,
I've always said that if you sell it to the end user, they'll never get caught, and you'll never get caught.
For the most part.
Yeah, for the most part.
Until the fiends started turning into informants. And that's what I started learning too. I'm like, even the fiends are informants.
Right.
You can't even run from it no more.
Right.
So when I got out, I fired all the workers. Right? My boy's like, "Are you wilding? He's mad at you." Like, I don't care. I'd rather them be mad than me go to jail and it'd be something else. I promise you. So I did that. And then I was like, I came to the epiphany. I was like, I made some bread. I was like, nah, I'm going back to selling weed, yo. I read this article that weed was gonna legalize in California. And I was like, I've been with weed. I was like,
What year was that?
1999.
Okay. So it would be another
2 years.
Well, it would for it to be fully legal in California, it would be another 13 years, 14 years.
It decriminalized in like 2001.
Oh, so it became like medical for medical uses, right? Yeah, right.
So I'm reading these articles. I'm like,
bing, bing, bing,
bing, bing, bing, bing, right?
Yeah.
So I told my boy, I was like, yo, I'm not selling drugs no more. As a matter of fact, I'm not even going back up to Ithaca no more. So what happened was, I was like, all right, I got to rewind just a little bit to 1998, that year, at the end of the year. So I was like, I'm going back to Cali to get weed. So my little young boy, he was like, yo, my boy just went to school in Cali, in San Diego. I'm like, San Diego? I'm like, he's smoking weed out there? He was like, I was like, call him. I was like, yo, what's up? You smoking weed out there? He was like, yeah, college is cool. I'm like, who you get the weed from though? He's like, my people's got weed. They be, you know what I mean? Getting having ounces. I'm like, all right, cool. We about to come out there. I'm like, they got ounces, they got pounds. So we go out there. It's kind of dry. I'm like, yo, what's up, man? I'm like, where your people's at? He's like, I'm gonna introduce you to my homegirl. She know all the drug dealers out here. He introduces me to this girl, right? This is in El Cajon in San Diego, like near the bottom, like about an hour away from Tijuana, right?
No, hour away, 10 minutes away.
Yeah. All right. See, even closer. So I'm like, she's like, yo, meet my man. Black dude. Cartel. So
Really?
He's like, yo, what's up, man? He's like, how many pounds you want to get? I'm like, 20. He was like, how long is it going to take you to move them? I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to tell you how long it's going to take me.
They're sold already.
I'm like,
bitch.
I'm like, yeah, I don't know, 5 days. He was like, yeah? He's like, all right, come with me to the car. I go to the car, he opens up the trunk. He's like, I got 50 in there. I thought you wanted like 50. I'm like, how much are they? I'm banking on them being like $400, $425 at the time. He's like, they $250 a pound. I'm like, $250? I'm like, let me see. I'm like, this got skunk weed. He got green weed.
Wow. So this is different than the stuff earlier, the stuff from Texas.
Yeah, it's almost the same weed though. I'm like, he was like, just pay me for like 30 of them. Take the other 20. And when you're done, just pay me back. I'm like, he can't get rid of all this like that he got. This guy's weed.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, cool. I take it, I package it, I mail it out. My boy Ithaca gets it. He sends me the money back like the next day for all of the pounds, right?
Okay, you got 50 over there?
Yeah. So
between how many boxes?
2 boxes.
You put 25 pounds in each box?
Yeah.
How does that look?
That looks like off the table like this. Like this.
Right.
Like this.
And are you putting it all in one big vacuum safe? One block?
Yeah, one block.
Big vacuum seal block. Okay. Because I would put my, I didn't have balls like that.
So
I put them in one pound, one bag each.
So what I did was I did the Texas. I did what I did in Texas.
Right.
How we shipped it in Texas.
Right.
So we take the block, take the saran wrap the down.
Mm-hmm.
Then we take duct tape. After we saran wrap it, we duct tape the up. Put soap on it.
Mm-hmm.
Saran wrap it again.
Okay. So there was no vacuum seal like food saver. That the saran wrap and the duct tape will be enough with the soap.
That's the food saver with the soap, with the dirty dish soap.
That was the 90s food saver. Okay. And then you get a giant box. Now, what is your cover?
The cover is mad styrofoam. So it's like, as long as that box don't shake and wiggle.
Right.
And it's like.
Yeah.
Chances are high.
Chances are high. And this is before scanners. This is before you had to give your ID at the UPS store.
So boom, I knock it off. He's on my balls. He's loving me. He's like, yo, you're the guy.
And now your price is $300 cheaper than it was in Texas.
Yeah.
For better weed.
So it's happening quick now. So this play is happening quick. So it's like, all right. I did it again where I packaged my own shit, sent it back. Then he was like, yo, I with you, yo. He was like, yo, I'm just gonna send you the weed. He's like, you don't gotta pay for nothing up front. I'm just gonna send it to you. When you get it, then you send the bread. I'm like, okay.
50 bricks at a time?
50 pounds every time, right? So now I'm like, yo, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, the new E-Class, the E430 was out. It was like 43,000 brand new, right? And the Range Rover, the 4.6 was out, and that was like 48,000, 56 loaded, 56,000 loaded, right? So I told him, I was like, yo, he's like, I'm about to send this back. I was like, yo, send me 150 pounds. And it was this called Cow's Breath, which was like exotic. And I was about to tap into that. I was about to start selling that in the hood because Haze started popping and everybody started booming with exotic weed. Started being a wave, right? So I was like, yo, send me this because nobody ever had that. Some crazy Chaldean, big ass bud.
And he had 150 pounds of it?
No, he had 6 pounds of that.
Okay.
So he sent me 3 boxes, not in 25 pounds, but like 2. All right, so it's 50 pounds in each box, 3 boxes. He took 25 pounds and stuffed them in a computer tower, okay? Before he did that, he sent me 100, and he sent them in 2 boxes, 4 computer towers, 2 in each box, stuffed with 25 pounds in each box. So when I got the pounds, it was like I'm breaking down these computer towers and so he's like, yo, when he sends the $150 and the 6 pounds of the Cow's Breath, I'm waiting for this in Baltimore. I'm like, I'm waiting because I'm getting it in Baltimore and then I'm driving it back to New York.
Right.
Right? Because I'm like, if I send it to New York, it's too hot to do that. I know I could send all the packs to Baltimore and they'll land. And I have my boys out there just giving me fake addresses like, go to this house, go to this house. I sit on my door porch waiting for a pack, 50 pounds.
Right, you don't even know the person inside. You're just,
I don't give a I just know the name on that box. Is that for John Williams? Yeah, that's me. Let me get my box. Thank you. Throw that in the truck and boogie, right?
And how many people do you have that you're giving it off to? If you get 150 pounds,
2.
And they're just sending it out
they cash me out. I don't care what they're doing.
Just the invisible hand.
It even got to the point where I was like, where are you selling all this weed at?
No, it's fascinating. I used to think the same thing. Where does this all get sucked up? Think about how many people it touches.
And this is just upstate.
Wow.
My boys in New York used to be so mad at me because I come through the town with all the weed, and then I leave. And they'd be like, you ain't leaving no pounds for me to sell. I'm like, nah.
Why not?
Because they only wanted to pay me $600 and I'm getting $1,200 out of town for them. Why would I give you that?
Right.
Out of here.
Right.
So I'm scheming on this car and I tell him to send 150 pounds. He sends it. I'm like, I'm going to get 2 cars in one day. I'm going to go get the Range Rover and the E430, all black, everything, both of them. I'm going to on everybody uptown. Okay? I'm waiting for my packages to come. I'm like, what's going on? Yeah. I track my, I called the UPS.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, what was in the box? I was like, they were just like video games and like that.
Yeah.
They were like, well, you have a red alert on your package that the DEA wants to talk to you. I'm like,
wow. They just give that information up.
They were like, your packages are in Kansas right now, stuck at the DEA. I was like, I just got off the phone. I was like, damn, son, it's over.
No, it's not over.
It was.
It shouldn't have been.
It was, because we lost all that weed, and I was just like, my boy didn't want to send him more weed. He was like, because he was losing other packs other places too.
Right.
I was like, it's your fault. He was like, yeah, you made me send that stink ass weed, those 6 pounds. He said, if you wouldn't have sent those 6 pounds, you would have got those.
Right.
Them couldn't hold, because we didn't have vacuum sealers back then.
Right.
He was like, that could have hold the packaging.
Yeah.
I was like, well. So I sat there. I told my homie, I was like, yo, it's ugly right now. I put all my marbles in one basket and played myself. I was like, yo, just pay my rent for a minute, man. This is the coke dealer. It's my best friend. Right? So he's like, all right. He's like, what's up? You want to come back upstate? I'm like, no, I don't actually. As a matter of fact, my keys, here you go. My cell phone with all my custodies, even my weed custodies, here you go. I went to my pops. I did the crying, like, yo, man, I'm sorry, man. Like, yo, give me a shot, man. Give me another shot, man. Yo, give me a job, yo. Or not. He's like, they're gonna f that job up. You just want to sell drugs and get money and live this fast life and get in all this trouble. Not with you. I'm like, no, for real. I'm dead serious. I'm not gonna f the name, nothing, family name, nothing. He's like, all right, let's see. I went, did the drug test. I don't even know how I passed that drug test, but I got in though. You know what I'm saying?
What's the job?
Steam fitters.
Union?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I got into the steam fitters union, welding, all this, right? The same time I get in, my block is booming with the weed. I'm like, because now I'm like, I don't want to go upstate. I'm buying weed from my other homie, and I'm like, he comes back down with a Rolex in like 3 weeks off of selling haze. I'm like,
tell us what haze is. People get, because there's a lot of misconceptions about what haze is.
Haze is basically, all right, before there was sativas and indicas, like for that being information, it was like, what is haze? Haze is weed grown by Cubans and Colombians, right? In Miami. It really started in Puerto Rico and migrated up, and they're the growers of it. Wow. And the Dominicans, this is my perspective. Okay. This might be a true story, it may not, but it's my true story.
Right.
Because I've been there, right?
Yeah.
When we originally started buying haze, it was from the coke spot. Like you couldn't get it nowhere else.
Right. So AKA the Dominicans.
Yeah. They were the people gatekeeping the haze.
Right. And they were getting it from the growers.
They were getting it from the coke dealers.
Right.
The people that the plugs, they were like, you got to take this weed too.
Right. Like, and they were growing it indoors in Florida.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, I think most people, the general public doesn't know that. I think they assume that haze is just a West Coast thing, more of a regional thing. People would assume because we got purple, it was all like, ooh, purple bud. So
the haze that I had was never purple.
Okay.
That's a Jimi Hendrix entendre of Purple Haze. I promise you.
But that's a huge cultural stamp.
We didn't even know it was Purple Haze till after we were doing Purple Haze, because they would be like Pepperhead, Pepperhead, Pepperhead. I said this in an interview before, whereas like Dominicans, you don't know, they don't even know what the they be saying when they translating their words to English. No. It's all backwards.
Pepperhead.
So like, yeah, Pepperhead. It's like, Purple Haze?
Yeah, it sounds.
What's going on?
Right, right. So the haze originally, the Dominicans were getting from the growers was not purple. It was just fire. It was indoor.
The haze that the Dominicans were originally getting were coming from coke suppliers. Yeah. That had coke and weed also. Right. And the weed started booming. And then all the Dominicans are like, we need the weed, we need the weed. Right. And it wasn't a black thing. It was like when I would go to the Bronx and smoke the haze, they'd be like, that is chemicals. What is that?
Yeah, I'm high as
fuck. Stick in it.
Yeah.
Nothing. Like, what is this?
No stems. That was crazy to people.
Look at that. Right. Like, it's grown in the equator, bro. It's an equatorial plant. I'm telling them this back in the 90s. Like, no, it's true.
No, it's grown indoors in Florida.
Bro. It's an equatorial plant.
You just told us it was grown in Miami.
Oh, right. But listen what I'm trying to explain to you, though. Okay? Even though it's grown indoors, the natural habitat of being near the equator plays into fact of the grow indoors. Just because you're indoors growing weed doesn't mean that you're going to grow it. They can't grow it in Cali. Explain it.
Is that true? I don't know if that's true.
The Cuban haze, they're not growing that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Wow.
We didn't even smoke Cali weed until like 05, 04. Again, on some exotic.
I see. Okay.
Dominicans had that on, and the Cubans had that on smash. That was their own recipe that birthed off the East Coast, West Coast.
Okay. So that's still a niche market, but it's growing.
That market is over because of so many trafficking charges. Drug dealers got caught.
Right.
Like the strains, the real people with those strains, you might see people be like, oh, we got the original black Cuban haze and this and that. Wow. Some of that might be authentic, but in real time.
That's fascinating. So it's kind of an extinct thing, the original haze.
It's like sour diesel, like the real sour.
Well, yeah, sour diesel. All New York rappers used to rap about the sour diesel. What is the sour diesel? Same concoction from those guys?
So the thing is, it goes back to nutrients and the agenda of the government. So back in the days, the government would put in the nutrients so they can, when they want to do the task force, your weed smells mad pungent. Mm-hmm. So they can smell that from miles away. Like those chemicals are not available, you know what I'm saying, to the point where you're like, we're using the same. No, they changed that. Okay. You get a bag of weed now, you have to literally open the pound bag and kind of like put your nose in it to smell the weed nowadays.
Oh, fascinating. But back in the day, it had a more pungent smell because people are growing with chemicals.
What? A bag of sour diesel, a dime bag would smell a whole building. Literally, not even lit. You know how many times we got kicked out the building for it being in our pocket and they'd be like, nah, you lit it. I smell it everywhere. It's everywhere.
That's fascinating. So it's actually, that was probably not very good for you. Smoking all those chemicals.
It was excellent because you'd be high as a kite. You'd be farting that shit. Like, everything smells like sour diesel when you eat it.
And was that coming from also the drug traffickers from Miami, from Florida? Or where was the sour diesel coming from?
So the sour diesel, I would say the Albanians.
Growing it indoors?
Yeah.
In the Northeast?
In New York.
Wow. Okay, but in the late 90s, early 2000s, when this really started to take over the hood, you know, Harlem, the Bronx, New York.
We didn't grow it.
No, I know that, but you're consuming it. It was really
selling it.
It was really expensive.
It was expensive. It was $600. It was $600 a zip.
Crazy, $600 a zip. That's like 2.5 pounds of the shit you're buying in San Diego.
The thing is, though, it's $600 a zip, but you can bag up 900 to 1,000 off of it. And
that could be your...
And it flies in one day.
Right.
So if you don't got the balls to test it or try it, then you're not going to get none of that money. But if you tap into it, now you're not going to pay $600. You're going to pay $500, $550.
Right.
And you're going to make $960, $980 off of it.
Bagging it up into like...
little bubblegum 0.3s for $20.
Right. So you're selling 0.3% of a gram and people, but it's so good, people are putting it into blunts and...
It's loud as hell.
Wow. Okay, so there's money in it.
There was hella money in it.
So how does this...
So that separates the risk takers from the regular sellers.
Right.
And this isn't...
Who are still moving commercial. The shit with stems.
Haze already set the tone. And I set the tone with that because when I started selling haze, my supplier was kind of like, you want to be Rich Porter of Harlem with the weed?
Okay. Yes.
I was like, yeah, but you sell coke? He was like, nah, I don't sell coke. I don't fuck with that. I'm not going to jail. It's like, pinky swear. You know what I mean? So I was like, all right, good. So our relationship was based off of strictly selling bud.
And this is a Dominican?
Yes.
How'd you link up with him?
By buying weed. He was like, yo, you're killing it. You buy mad weed every day. Like you buying a pound every day. I'm like, yeah.
And you were just breaking it down?
Yeah.
Wow.
He was like, where you be at? I'm like, 10 blocks away from here. He was like, oh. He came to my block. He knew a couple drug dealers on the block, Dominicans that were like, yo, puppy. He's like, yo, what's up? He's like, this your block? I'm like, yeah.
What block was that?
158.
158th.
Yeah, he's like, yo, my man gonna pull up tomorrow. He pulled up with 20 pounds of haze, right?
Wow.
So now I'm currently just moving like a pound, 2 pounds, maybe 3-4 pounds a week at the time. I wasn't like going crazy.
Right.
He pulls up with 20, right? I'm like, oh, just dropped off 20 pounds. I'm like, I ain't giving it back. I'm like, how the f I move this shit, yo? And then I just came outside and I just was like, you got it now. Just you got it. You the plug.
And what was one of those pounds going to you for?
I was getting them for like 6,000.
That's wild.
And I was selling them for like 6,400, 6,300, whole pound.
Oh, so you were just giving love. You were just taking a little percentage off of it.
Now I had some people that I charged like 7,000. 72 is the most I was charging for a pound.
And were those mostly people from out of town?
Yeah, 100%. Right? If you was from out of town,
you're getting the seven grand. You're going to pay more.
72 pounds.
Because they can make more.
Or 68, depending. If you buy like 4 or 5, I'll give them to you for 68.
Okay.
You dig? So,
but they fly off the shelf.
What?
So
I ended up, my numbers were basically like 400 a month.
400 G's a month?
No, 400 pounds a month. Like I do 100 pounds every week.
Yeah.
You know, at those numbers for like a decade.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
So you would grow into, you worked with your dealers and they expanded the market.
They just, I didn't even look at it like that. I looked at it like I'm getting high and I'm smoking weed and I got it. And if we cool and you want to buy it, you can spend your money with me. I ain't going to rob you. Because back in the days, everyone had the experience of getting Naco 9, which is basically going to a drug dealer thinking they're going to sell you some and they give you some fake or some bang and they rob you for your bread. Yeah. You dig what I'm saying? Yeah. So I was like, nah, it ain't happening over here. I got you all.
And were you the exclusive guy with it?
Yes. I became that. It wasn't like, I basically took that slot. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Even to the point where Branson, you know what I mean? He shouted me out from early where it's like, I felt like it was a changing of the guards. You know what I mean? And like 02, I felt like, you know, I was like, all right, Branson. He's like, yo, your name ringing bells. You know what I mean?
So your name was really out there in the street, even though what you're doing is still federal.
Yeah, back then.
For sure. 2000.
I didn't care. I was already a career criminal in my mind. And I told you, I already like gave up the hard side. Yeah. And I'm like made this atonement where it's like, I'm going to work this job. So I got a job and my block is booming now. So I'm like coming home. They're like, you want to work overtime? I'm like, no, hell no.
You still steam fitting?
No. I retired from that.
You back at the Gap?
Yeah.
Assistant manager?
Yeah. This type like that. 4 salesman. Nah, I'm just joking. But yeah, I just like, you know what I mean?
So you had a day job as you were moving 400 pounds of haze a month. Do your parents know?
Yeah, they know. Because what happened was when I started working at the union, they were like, he got the weed. So I basically had my whole union class, because we had to go to like union school. We had to go like class once a week. Yeah. But now I got like a 30-man huddle at lunchtime and everybody's like smoking weed. And now I'm doing music now. I got like the music going on, Dipset.
Right. Okay, so this is where I first heard about Shiest Bubz. Was the Dipset phenomenon, which came about in the early 2000s. I see they had all these little subsidiary groups. You know what I mean? I forget the names now. J.R. Ryder, you know, all these kind of ancillary cats. It was mostly just Jim Jones and Cameron. But then I hear about like, what is it? Purple Gang?
Yeah, Purple City.
Purple City. And I hear this with a deep voice and a fly ass beat. And I was like, this is cool as like you were a good rapper.
As a fan of hip hop, because I never was like on some rap shit. I was always anti-rap. I was always like drug dealer shit. Y'all just want to live this life. Like, y'all don't really live this shit. Y'all good kids. Right. I know I'm a good kid because I was a good kid at one point. Yeah. You dig what I'm saying? Yeah. So I can identify good people when I see them.
Yeah, and also they were innovative. They were funny on rap. They were different, and that means something.
And they know the culture. Right. Because in order to be successful in this, you have to know your demographic and who's actually buying into your play. Yes. And they did that. They did know who was buying into it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the marketing was unparalleled.
I learned those things about music from being part of Dipset because I was oblivious to a lot of things, like as far as like people utilizing other people's or the whole demographic of using what they're accustomed to wanting to see and feeding that to them.
I just be like walking in my own path. Like, see, I got the I just do me. I don't think about.
The point is, you weren't even you were like a hobbyist.
Yes.
You didn't, Cameron was rapping since the early 90s. Like he was a real artist. You just kind of started rapping and were good.
Thank you.
So it's just, it was interesting because that's where I first heard of you.
I was very insecure about me being a rapper for a long time. Even to this day, I'm not like, that's like the 10th thing I'm good at.
So you don't lead with rapper when people ask you what you do, who you are?
Hell no,
you don't
never,
lead with rapper?
ever, no.
Okay.
I'd rather tell them I'm a bum before I tell them I'm a rapper.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
question. You're selling 400 pounds a month. First of all, what's your profit off that? 100 G's?
My profit is like 6% of whatever I'm selling.
Okay, so it's a pretty thin margin.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are we talking, like 30 to 50 grand?
A little more than that.
Okay.
Like a month, like monthly, I do like 100K.
100K a month.
Yeah.
So, I mean, most people never see that touching coke.
And I'm doing that every month. I was doing that every month.
Every month.
Yeah.
So how is your name not ringing with the feds?
Because I basically was selling bud, and the city is full of millions of people. Yeah. So as long as you're not committing murders and doing to where you're creating an offense, an offensive crime to where people are doing a conspiracy to you, you're off the radar.
So your people never got popped? People you're giving work to? Not that you're aware of?
They got popped. Like, they got popped with a pound.
Yeah.
They'd be like, yo, I got caught with the work on the way back. I don't care.
Yeah. That's
on you. You got caught. They're not going to be like, take us to the source. Where did you get this pound of weed? They're like, got caught with a pound of herb. We're really going to keep this pound. You know what I'm saying? And charge them with it. I mean, it was a lot of corruption going on back in the day. And we were the target of the war on drugs. Like, that's where the game gets crazy. So, like, throughout the whole 90s, it's like the war on drugs. The late 80s, war on drugs. 90s, war on drugs. Giuliani's cleaning up New York, which he basically did.
Yeah, he did.
He did it by putting cameras on every street corner.
Yeah.
Dominicans are allergic to cameras. So they ran into...
Why people love cameras? You guys are flashy.
You're like, cameras? I'm like, where's the camera at?
Yeah. Hold on, let me hit a pose with this gun.
You feel what I'm saying, though? But, like, that's just basically what it was.
Well, look,
that cleaned up the hood.
But I did a charge for, I did time in prison for selling lots of weed. So clearly they were targeting, it became a target of the feds when there was less crack to go after.
You did a Fed bid for weed?
I didn't, no. But the feds seized a lot of my shit.
State?
But I went to the state, yeah.
How much time did you do?
2 years.
2 years? How much weed did you get caught with?
No weed.
No weed? Conspiracy?
Just tons of cash. I didn't keep it. I didn't keep the product at the crib, but I kept the cash at the crib.
How much cash you got caught with?
At the end of the day, almost $1 million.
Almost $1 million.
Yeah.
And you did 2 years.
Yeah.
My boy got caught with $6 million. I mean, $3 million. He was a big coke dealer, and he did 7 years for the $3 million in cash. Never got caught with no drugs.
But did they have any kind of conspiracy on him? Did they have any snitches? Nobody snitched on me. I had nothing. They had no evidence on me.
Nothing stuck. They just put him in jail for the money.
Huh.
And then deported him right after that.
Yeah.
I mean, so
he's running a car dealership in the DR now.
So basically what happened for me all in one swoop on a good note, right? Because I've always had these premonitions of how does this end?
Right.
What's the end story? You know what I'm saying? Like, after a 10-year run, what's next, right? So I'm like, yo, I just ended a 10-year legacy with selling coke. I'm good. I don't have to ever do it again. Now I'm doing this weed. My shit is booming. It's so booming that I'm in the sky like, when does this end? Because this is too crazy. I'm too high up. I'm doing anything I want to do. You know?
You're loving life.
I'm loving it because I don't have to transfer one thing to the other to do something else.
Did Dipset, when they started popping in Harlem, did they know who you were?
They were discovering who I was as we went along. It wasn't like they was just like intrigued by what I had going on in the present. Like, as soon as they met me, like, he got the weed, yo. Yo, I went to his house, yo. He got mad. Yo, he got everything, yo. Yo, he official, yo. Yo, I asked my man about him, yo. My man's like, he know him from jail. Oh, my man know him from upstate. Oh, my man know him from over here. Yo, he official. You can f with him. You know what I mean? He's solid.
So you were kind of the new age Rich Porter, Alpo. You were like a less serious, kind of a street legend.
I don't know. I think that's a little bit, I mean, like too much. I felt like I was just like leading the cannabis wave. Like I felt like I was a street dude that I've been outside doing all these things that these people emulate and they glorify. And I was just doing that because that was my situation at the time. You know what I mean? But I really felt like I was leading this cannabis flag in the search for legalization at some point, and that when it happens, that I was going to be ready for that play.
Okay, so you saw that in the future. I want to be legal. I want to be legal in this space once it goes legal.
Period. That's why I started doing music, because I said to myself when I read that article, right, I was like, yo, it's going to be legal in California. I was like, I bet you I can make that legal for myself right now. I bet you out the mud. And Diplomats provided me the opportunity to do it out the mud, because my entry was doing mixtapes.
Right.
That don't cost me nothing to take a song from somebody and put it on a playlist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The most that it costs is for me to do a little bit of artwork and, you know, figure out somebody as a graphic designer to do that, which happened to fall in my lap. You dig what I'm saying? Yeah. So all I had to do is, which I was already doing with the weed, was congregate my peers. You know what I mean?
Right.
And now we're not just in the streets, but we in the music industry. So it's all types of rappers like, yo, listen to my song, yo, you could get this on the cam, yo, you could get. I try to get it to Jim, but Jim busy, yo. Can you get it to him, yo? And I'm like, I'm just gonna put a platform together. Yeah. Purple City, the auditioning B team, like the
replacements,
like the overseas league.
Yeah, right.
You dig?
Yep. Like
they all hot, but if you like somebody out of my roster, Cam, you could basically recruit them. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. That's what this is.
You were
for.
like they were the farm system. You were feeding them players.
Purple City was the farm.
Wow. Did you get any talent over to Dipset?
I mean, yeah, A Mafia, just the whole play, the whole Purple City, the whole mindset of being able to be independent and start Bird Gang, start all these other subsidiaries of Diplomats by my leadership of being like, look, I got my own Purple City. Yeah. Got my own distro.
Really?
Yeah.
You had your own distribution?
Yeah.
Did you make any money off music? It's a hard business.
I made some money, but not like, I felt like I didn't recoup my money that I put in. I put 400 in, I made like 2 something back. And that left a bad taste in my mouth, because I was like, yo, I put this bread up that I didn't even recoup. I didn't even care to recoup it, because I looked at it as a sacrifice. I'm like, I'm making all this, but I don't care. I'm spending this. Look, I'm just, that's how I stayed off the feds list, because I wasn't like doing like organized crime. I was more like being a facility to be like, you could go to the studio, you could record. I'm gonna put the music out. I'm gonna print up the CDs. I'm gonna do everything. You know what I mean?
It's pretty good margins though. For a guy that's only making.
I'm not doing no contracts with y'all. This is all freelancing.
Yeah.
If you win, you win. If not, you don't. That's what it did. It got me my own record label situation. Right. It was like I had my own record label, distribution. I went back to my union job like, yo, I got this whole. They offered me $50,000 for my first album. That's basically what I make here. Might as well live out my dreams.
Yeah.
This is just the start. I'm gonna pop this shit off.
Yeah.
So I left the union.
So you got a deal with Cam's label?
No.
Who'd you get the deal with?
Cam's label. I showed them how to get deals. Indie deals. Like he had his deal with Rockefeller.
Right.
But I did like an indie deal, you know, with a independent record company. Yeah. And then once I did that, they were like, getting $7 a record? Only getting 25 cents a record.
Right.
I'm like, all that music that you was putting out in the streets for free, you need to repackage that and repurpose it and put it over here so you could get some more bread instead of selling mixtapes. Mixtapes is over.
I think I remember that. Like Jim Jones, really, he was the real business mind.
That was my bro. He was like, that's the play. And then I shot Purple City Bird Gang, the video off the mixtapes.
Right.
So not for nothing, if Jim Jones wouldn't have took that video, because people be like, yo, you're part of Jim Jones' group and this. I'm like, yo, he's my bro. The point was to get the music popping by any means necessary, to put it in the machine. So if he had to go say that we were his group or, you know, we're his art, whatever he had to say, this is his video, I don't give a.
Rap is marketing, man. It's all marketing.
Who cares?
Smoke and mirrors.
Did Kevin Lau sign off of it? He sure did. And that ended up on a reel with 20 Rockefeller songs with Jay-Z. So do you know how much it is to service a music video back then?
I have no idea.
More than it costs to shoot it. How about that?
Wow.
Okay, so you spend 30, 40, 50 on a video, it's gonna cost you about 30, 40, 50 to service it to all the video shows across the country in 3 different formats. And then you gotta pay to ship them.
Right, you gotta pay to get placement.
Yeah, so back then, no one serviced just one video. You have to stack the videos onto the reel and then send out the reel. So you save on all these fees that you gotta pay.
Right.
You dig? We did that, and then it was like 20 million viewers on our video as soon as it dropped because we're on this reel that's like serviced throughout the whole country.
Wow. And that was the Purple City Gang video? Bird Gang.
And that's why ultimately that's our most famous song because off the rip, I was thinking enterprising, like, you know, how are we gonna do this? How are we gonna get it popping? And that's how we did that. And
so that's what came of that.
Jim Jones.
Yeah.
His career, Purple City.
Yeah.
Came out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And he took your method of distribution and he made of money off his next couple albums because he went indie and he got that $7, $5 to $7 royalty per unit.
Yeah. At the time they used to be like, oh, that's a grave house for rappers and all this shit. But we were like, we knew rappers. How could it be a graveyard when we haven't even started?
Yeah.
That's our birth. We got wild clout off of that. Like y'all got in the hood, if you got a deal for 50,000, you was the man in the hood. Like back in the days, if you came in the hood, like I just got signed for 50,000. Right. It's like, what? Yo, boy is lit.
Right.
Don't forget we like in our early 20s and you know what I mean? 18-year-old comes to the block like I just got 50,000. I just bust the rollie, I bust the chain. Yeah. I just got the car.
Yeah, you're broke in 3 months. And now
that's not even to be told because it hasn't been the 3 months. That time hasn't even evolved.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like waves of and everybody ain't popping like that. You got to go through auditions to be certified like that to say that you're nice in Harlem.
So you can really, this is financed by Haze money. Yeah. Did the weed change at all? Did the Haze evolve your connect? Was he bringing you different strands of it?
It was like 4 different strains of Haze.
And none of this is Cali?
No, hell no. Cali pack means that you're stuck. Like you're not even going to get that shit off.
Oh, come on.
I'm serious. Stop. No, I'm serious. Because the demand was for Haze. It wasn't for no Grape Ape and all this other shit.
So Haze really was the street brand. It was like how a heroin stamp in the 80s in the Bronx would be popping. Obsession. You got to get Obsession.
I promise you that.
Wow.
And the Dominicans really had that on Smash because I was only like a fourth of my man's company.
Yeah.
Like of the company, of my Haze company, of what I'm doing getting my 300 to 400 pounds a month, he's doing 1,000 a month.
Okay, so you weren't his sole distributor. He had other people.
Yeah.
But you were the sole one in Harlem.
We knew each other, but we were all independent. We were all like tennis, like.
Yeah. Were you the sole distributor in Harlem?
No.
Oh, you weren't?
No.
Then why were you known as like the cannabis guy? I guess it's because of your brand.
Because I'm black. Because I'm black. I'm an anomaly.
Right.
I'm an anomaly in that. Until 05, only 95% of Latinos ran the cannabis industry.
And on the West Coast,
I'm talking about the whole country.
Well, the West Coast was white boys who were getting it from Latinos like me.
I said ran it. Y'all didn't run it. Y'all got it from the Mexicans.
Sure.
And y'all colonized their shit and took their shit over, which is, you know what I mean? Usually how this goes. I mean, it's for real. I've been around since the beginning of time. Like, so at the end of the day, when I'm going to cultivations in California in 06, 07, 08, 09 through my rap career, and I'm like going to the facility and it's all Mexicans, right? With the owner being a white boy, and then I come back 2-3 years later and it's only one Mexican, and it's all these other white people in the
trimming and
they didn't cut them out because Mary and Joe then got caught stealing, or they're like, you know what I'm saying? They just figured out like we're getting taken advantage of. You know what I mean?
Also because, you know, cartels would get popped. Like I would buy from different organizations. They call them cartels, but they're really just families from either Sinaloa or Durango, these different areas in the growing regions. And they send up teams of, these are farmers. They don't even know what state they're in. They're like, what is Oregon? ¿Qué es Oregon? Right? And so they would get popped and they'd all get deported. So there was a lot of hippie labor, we'll call it.
But like I said, I'm the biggest in New York because I'm black. That's why. You dig what I'm saying? I have the most notoriety because of that, because I've been able to mesh, music and entertainment along with this. And since the beginning, not influence, not being a follower and being like, oh, they sell weed, I want to do. Nah, I set the trend.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been setting the trend because I come from a breed of authentic people. You dig what I'm saying? Hustlers, like, for real. So if I came out and I was on some like jacking somebody else's, they would have been like, that's whack, man. You a copycatter, man. You ain't do that. You ain't do none of this. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like, nah.
You were never scared to be yourself.
Never.
Now, what, after the music, when did the music start to fade out in your life?
It faded, I would say, like in 2010. So I had like a 7-year run with the music.
Right.
8-year run, to the point where I was like, I got into this place in my head where I'm like, I'm a rapper. I'm like, I'm a rapper? This is stupid. I don't like this yo. Because I don't feel like I'm number one in that. I don't feel like that's I told you, that's like number 10 on my list.
Right.
That's not like my number 3 talents. Like,
right.
Music, like fashion is really my number 1 talent. You dig what I'm saying? And organizational skills.
Right.
You dig?
Right.
So
I
came to a fork in the road.
Yeah.
I came to a fork in the road where it's like, what you gonna do, man? Music or weed? I was like, this music. I'm like, I'm doing weed. Weed got me everything.
Yeah.
Weed got me everything, situated in everything, business, because it helps me with my networking as far as communicating with people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, if I chill with you and I smoke a blunt with you, we can talk about any type of business.
Yeah.
The rap, if I'm like, I'm a rapper, it's like, well, you're a rapper. Like, what do you want?
Yeah, take a number.
Yeah,
so are all these cats.
You want some money or something? Like,
right.
What do you want from me?
Right.
I'm not in music. I can't do nothing for you. It's like, you want to buy a home? It's like, you're a rapper, right? You got money. Like, oh God, get the away.
Yeah.
This shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I came to a fork in the road, and I ultimately chose weed. Like, I'm going back on my weed path, and basically became part of the Smokers Club. Johnny Shiest, Smoke Dizza,
right,
which is like a national touring situation for cannabis without selling weed.
Okay.
It's like explain
what that is.
It's like we do concerts. Every 30 city tour.
Wow.
With the biggest names in hip hop with weed, Redman, Method Man, Cypress Hills, Nipsey Hussle, rest in peace when he was out here, Juicy J. We've had everybody, Burner. Everybody's been on a Smokers Club tour that smokes weed. If you haven't, then you ain't really a real smoker. Yeah. And I happen to be the host for every tour since it started. You dig what I'm saying?
That's fire. So you come out, you're the host, you warm everybody up. Do you rap?
Nope.
You're just out there livening up the crowd, being the hype man.
And letting it be known that all these people that you see on this stage have crossed my path. I don't need an autograph.
Yeah.
You dig?
Yeah.
Like, I'm the coolest weed dealer you ever met. You dig? Like, it's only about weed. All that other shit. Yeah. Don't ever ask me to perform Purple City Bird Gang. I might smack you and break your equipment. You heard?
I heard.
It was like that. Like, don't ask me about no rap. Don't ask me to rap on tour. I'm not doing it. I'm not getting up there performing for y'all like I'm auditioning for something. Nah, y'all gotta pay $10,000 for me to perform. Yeah. Crazy? Yeah. So I did that for a while. But no one knew I quit music because I wasn't like promoting it. Right. I'm just gonna drift away from that.
And meanwhile, the packs are still moving.
I mean, I was doing branding because the game started moving a little differently.
Right. Prices started going down. More people, more and more good weed. I was like,
what's going on? Every eighth is $25 now? What's going on out here,
yeah,
right?
Right.
But then I was like, it's no way this weed could be $25. It costs more than that to buy it. This weed costs $3,000 in Cali. How could you possibly sell this for $25 an eighth?
Yeah.
Impossible. So then I basically was like, all right, look, this weed is $80. This weed is $15. So when people would come to be like, yo, I want to get some weed from you, I'm like, what you came for? They're like, the $15 weed. I'm like, all right. They're like, what's that over there in those jars? I'm like, it's not for you, man. They're like, what you mean? I'm like, it's $80. What you mean it's not for me, yo? And it's not for you. You want that $15 cheap? Go cop what you want.
They're not like, nah, let me get 4 of those $80. Now they pulling out money out they sock and all that. Don't you ain't have money for lunch? Now you just bought 4 of them $80 joints. It's hot outside on the streets, yo. About to resell these for 100. What?
So it sounds like you kind of went from this massive wholesaler, 400 pounds a month of the highest quality.
I cut that shit off.
So now you're down to like a hand-to-hand salesman again.
Yeah. A fringe salesman. Like you have to, now I'm a rapper. I'm known as a rapper.
Right.
So even to talk to me, it's like about weed. It's like, what?
Right.
What you doing? I'm not selling you no 1/8. You gotta buy the whole pound and go sell your own eighths.
Mm-hmm.
Figure it out. You see what's going on over here? Do this for yourself, man. Mm-hmm. You did?
So you went from that to back to dealing with smokers.
Yes, because I'm on a smokers club tour now.
Right.
So now I know all the smokers. I know all the growers. Yeah. I know all the people who are actually making machinery for oil, all of this. Everything is like right in my backyard.
You're in the industry. You're part of this new wave of legalization.
And I'm still only one of 10 black people in the game.
Mm-hmm. How was that money? We always assumed that once it went legal, all the game was going to be done. There was going to be no money in it. All the big private equity groups would monopolize the business, but it hasn't happened.
What hasn't happened?
Like private equity and all of these Wall Street firms haven't taken over and monopolized like we thought it would. It's
not federal, that's why.
Right. But, I push back on that too, because we had a guy in here who we just interviewed this week, and he runs like a hemp company. So this is hemp. Looks exactly like weed, smokes exactly like weed. It's just not as powerful. And he said they do $100 million a year just off of their online sales. And he says, once it goes federal, dude, a company like me is going to be a $500 million a year company. And they don't have Wall Street money behind them.
You just got to be, listen, the art of weed selling is about consistency.
Yeah.
And if you can be consistent long enough. What they did in the legal market in New York was kind of sell people a dream that it's like, oh, you can get a license, you can get in the game.
Right.
But they didn't offer the financials for them to expect to be held out. It's like, okay, you can open up, but you got to wait 8 months and you got to have a store and you got to be paying. If you want to get a store in New York, it's like between $25,000 and $100,000 in rent
a month.
Yeah, for real estate.
Crazy.
So it's like,
and now you got to wait 8 months, and now you're bleeding. That's $1 million just waiting.
So you got felonies and you got 10,000 in your name, and you're like, I'm gonna take 3 of it, go apply for a license, and I'm gonna get it. Guess what? I got the license, bro.
Yeah.
But I don't have no money for build out. I don't have no money for a location. Mm-hmm. I don't have enough money to re-up once I get this spot. I don't have enough money for the safe. How am I supposed to operate?
Right. Is there still weed men, black market weed dudes in New York?
There's black market weed plays people everywhere in the country. That's never going to stop. That's why they legalized it.
Well, in Cali, for instance, we looked this up. 90% of marijuana in the state of California is sold on the black market still because they overtax the shit out of it. So all these distributors buy from cartels and they sell it like it's legal.
So if that's the mothership, what do you think is going to be the results of this offspring?
I don't know.
The same thing.
In New York.
Everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere. All right. Well, that's good for people.
It's illegal here, right?
It's good for hustlers. It's not legal here.
It's not legal here, right?
Yeah.
But you can still go and go buy some weed, though.
Yeah.
All right. So make it make sense.
Hey, it's not my laws.
Laws are being made to be broken.
Okay. So this cannabis cup and all this, you're becoming like this mogul that you are, and you're fashion, and you're known from the music, and you've built this like cool brand. What'd you do? What have you done the last 5 years? And now what are you doing? Like,
so cannabis just basically legalized 2.5 years ago, 2 years ago, basically.
In New York.
Yeah. So in the last 5 years, I basically saw what was about to happen, right? And I started gearing up for that. So they're like, how are you gearing up for it? I'm like, well, New York is a big place. And being that I set the trend, I want the title. I want what's due to me. You dig what I'm saying? Because that helps my business as far as me even being on a show like this right now. Like me having this history and this resume allows for me to
do business and be like, create anything I want to create. I'm a creator.
Yeah, you are.
That's what I do. It's not about me being like this or that. It's like I create things.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying?
Got to make money though.
Definitely has to make money. So I started gearing up for the transition. And I started telling people like, oh, it's about to legalize here. They're like, yeah, whatever. What does that even look like? I'm like, it looks like them wanting all the money. Okay? And they're going to try to trick us out of our spot. Okay? They were like, what are you talking about? All these politicians started coming to visit me at my Smokers Club venue that I had with my partners, right? That I was kind of like managing. I was just managing it. Right. It wasn't mine. It was like our teams, but I'm just managing the situation, right? So everyone's coming over, all these politicians like, hey, weed is about to legalize. What do you want? I was like, what do you want? Don't ask me what I want. I already sell weed. I already know there's nothing else I want to sell weed. That's it. What are we talking about? Pay and go. What are you talking about? What do I want? I want all the awards in weed. Y'all gonna acknowledge my shit, yo. You're not gonna just come over here and think that y'all gonna blindside us and then just give it to white America like y'all been doing, okay? So like, yeah. Okay, boom. Some people in power, they're like, all right, cool, we with you, Bubz. Are you really ready to come out of the black market? I'm like, see, there you go again, stereotyping me. Don't tell me I'm in the black market because that's the story you want to believe about me. I've been in the music industry for 10 years. So stop playing with me. I just came off tour from doing Smokers Club where we legally sell cannabis. You know what I'm saying? You think we're going to be going state to state doing illegal crimes and not go to jail?
Right. We're out there now. It's not like
this
we
is
can
commercial.
be.
This is not, we don't even sell bud. And when we do, we sell it in the dispensaries.
Right.
Through legal deals that we have going on.
So do you have dispensaries?
We've been
Do you have interest in dispensaries in New York City or?
As far as what do you mean? Like me owning one?
Brick and mortar, yeah.
No, I don't want that overhead.
Okay.
Hell no. That's for whoever they want to present that for.
Right.
So they were like, do you want a dispensary? Hell no, I don't want a dispensary. What, you want to see me crash and burn? Oh, you want to see me come into the game and fail? Or you want to see me come in the game and win? For what? So you can copy my blueprint and have me reporting to you guys like I'm on probation? I f the law. You know what I'm saying?
All right. So then
I'll fall back. Listen, I'm going to fall back and I'm going to let you guys put your work in and make this an equitable situation. And until you guys can show me that, I'm going to fall back. I don't want no license. I'm going to support everyone though. Get the license. Social equity is necessary, but you're not looking at the play how you're supposed to. You think that you're going to come into the cannabis industry to be a drug dealer because you're black and you've been to jail? No, go get the license and go sell your license for like 50 to 100K. So you can go live out your dreams of what you want to do and have your own Rockefeller startup money. You dig what I'm saying? You're not using it in the right way. You're not understanding what your blessings are of getting that. They don't want you in the game. You think you're gonna get in, they're gonna bleed you out. So
that's a lick right there. Have you sold a license? Have you got a?
So I came into business, right? What did I do? The first quarter of dispensaries opening, I dropped my brand, the heavy smoke, legal weed in the dispensaries. Only thing was, it was only 8 stores open. 4 of them had to close for renovations and to fix their licenses. So now I'm only stuck with 4 stores. Guess what? Some of them went into delinquent because it's so slow their business because they're selling outdoor flower that they're like, you owe. You know what? Let me fall back. Let me just take my brand out the market because what's happening is everyone's watching me and they're like, Shiest Bubz is in the market. How's the flower? Where are you doing this? Stop asking me all these questions, yo. Get a life, yo. I'm taking my off the market. What happened when I took it off the market? People started doing a bunch of weird back talking and bureaucracy and all this other people that you're like, damn, they're supposed to empower us. But this is the play? Yeah, New York City cannabis is booming right now, but black people are only 1% in the stores. Just like 400 some brands, and maybe like 1 owner of a black brand. I'm about to come back online though. So when I come back online for the summer of 2025, I'm going full rollout. So anyone watching this, when you come to New York City, make sure you check for my brand. You'll know the brand. I'm not gonna reveal it yet, but when you see the brand, you're gonna know it's my brand. Okay, just be like, where's brand at? And it's gonna be an honorable brand. You understand what I'm saying? Where it's not all these gimmicks, and it's like not people trying to circumvent our lifestyle for all these years. You know what I'm saying? It's like, nah, this is a brand you could trust. It is what it is, and you can support it and feel good about what's actually happening. Because all I do is refeed the market and set more trends and set the blueprint for them to say, oh, we need to hustle like that. We need to tighten up. You dig what I'm saying?
I think so. Maybe I think I dig about half of it. I miss the old days. Things were way easier. And it was just, I bought it for this much and I flipped it for this much. But, you know, times change and people innovate. And New York's at the center of it. Harlem's at the center of it. And you've been at the center of it.
Is Harlem at the center of it?
When it comes to cannabis.
In your eyes?
I think so.
Okay, that's great.
I think so.
I feel like I've done my job.
I mean, the other guy I can think of is Cosmarte.
Yeah, no.
Body.
He's the homie.
He's from the Lower East Side.
He's the homie, but our stories are completely different.
Right. But I'm just saying from going from a drug dealer to this citizen, right, is pretty dope. And you guys have some similar trajectories in terms of going from selling hard, and he was into heroin, and, you know, he was really, really federal. And now he's like, dude, he's got flagship stores all over the city, and he's on Good Morning America, and that'll be you. Yeah. Well, you're on the Connect. It's cooler.
Yeah, well, I'm already, you know what I mean? We're doing that already. But like I said, like when it comes to New York, like I made my mark. We really, like Black culture really sets the trend when it comes to being like, this is cool or this is not, especially with rap music. You know what I'm saying? If it's like, these guys are smoking this weed, everyone's like, oh, but where's the suppliers? It has nothing to do with race, but it really does though. You know what I'm saying? So it's like being that we don't get the credit that we really supposed to get just because of politics. I don't know what it is. When weed was legalizing, they told the Black community that we didn't have the same privilege as these other people to sell cannabis when they let all these 1,500 illegal dispensaries per borough open up. You dig what I'm saying?
Crazy.
They told us to our face that we couldn't do that, but they could because we're not privileged to do that.
They're shutting a lot of those down, though.
They shut a majority of them down.
Right.
You know, they got the rest of them got scared, but you know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's like,
we don't have to put this in if you don't want, but are you growing? Do you have money behind grows?
So currently I have people who have cultivation. So I don't have to have money behind their grow.
Right.
They have their own money behind their grow in the legal market. So when I do come back out, I'm already at the top of the pinnacle.
Right.
You know what I mean? Of how you get your product in the stores.
Right.
You have to either go through a cultivation or a processor, or have your own micro license in order to do the play. If you don't have that, your product will not end up on the shelves, bro.
So people cultivate your own brand. You have different outside cultivators.
Yeah.
Okay, that's dope. So, okay, what's the best way? And then you got a pizza shop.
Pizza Movement.
Pizza Movement. Sorry,
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Pizza Movement. Shouts out to 5 Mics. You know what I'm saying?
But I'm going to be in New York this weekend. Where can I go? I need a slice, bro.
Just pull up and we'll take you to the best pizza shop.
Oh, done.
And we
Are you kidding me, bro?
And then you could be on 2 Bites Pizza content, and we can, interview
Fire.
you. And,
Yes. Yes.
And then what we do is basically we go get pizza for fuel, right? We fuel up with the pizza, and then we go do something fun, something in New York that's, you know what I mean? Like an experience.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
You play golf?
I do.
All right.
I play tennis too, though.
So they got this spot called Swings in New York.
Oh, where you're hitting into the water? Or the one on the downtown?
Nah, it's
not
like
that one.
It's a whole miniature golf, like some other indoor, some new.
Bro, I think I'm inspired by the creativity and the, what's the word? Innovation.
Thanks, bro.
I really am. And hearing your story, you understand why New York cats are just the flyest, because it's a mixture of the best from the entire world.
See how my man walked in here? Look. You see what I'm saying, though? Look. New York to the front. He from Texas?
He looks fly, though.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, but you come down here and you buy property. You want to do a quick bonus episode where we smoke that blunt?
Let's do it.
And we'll talk some more shit?
Yeah.
Shiest, I know you were hesitant to come on here. You're like, who is this doofus white guy interrogating people?
I just like, who is this new federal agent?
Yeah,
that's
who's this?
trying to get info?
Yo, I know so much about the drug game. It does seem like I'm a Fed. Like some guy was talking about how we used to move bricks of heroin.
You don't look like a Fed though.
Thank you. I've actually been in the system. I've had federal agents arrest me.
But I would script you for a movie to play the Fed because you know what a Fed is like, so you probably get that off.
Well, now feds are feds are like Puerto Rican women that are overweight. Like,
right.
Feds are not even white boys. We're like done with the feds.
It's the lady at the taco stand. Like,
I'm the DA, bro. I'm the U.S. attorney.
Oh, like he said, he just, hey. All
right, we're gonna switch over to the Patreon. Go check out Shiest Bubz. Go and listen to his music if you haven't. If you're a youngster, and the weed brand. I mean, I still don't quite get how you get weed to customers, but they'll figure it out.
Oh, who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, they just got to see it. They just like, Shiest got weed. My name, I don't know what happens. It's just
but
like.
What's the distribution angle though?
The
like
distribution
if people want to, okay, got it. So, but is there a brand, like a lot of people from New York watch this. So are you in stores right now in New York?
No, currently no.
All right, that's okay. But you're all over social media. So when it drops, you'll see it.
Follow my page, Shiest Bubz. And I will announce it when it's dropping again.
Yes. And now the pizza movement. Shout that out one more time because I want people.
At 2 Bites Pizza.
Yeah.
You already know what it is. Everyone loves pizza. What do we love to do after we eat a good slice? We like to smoke a blunt.
That's it.
You already know.
That's it. All right, you guys. We'll see you over on Patreon. Patreon.com/TheConnect Show. Shiest Bubz. What an interview, man. Appreciate it, bro.
Appreciate you, bro. Love it. Thank you.